How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching and/or listening to ABL Live. Thank y'all for being here tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on tonight. A whole lot happening all over the place. The virus package did pass the House and the Senate. It'll go back to the House momentarily, but I think it's pretty much done. Biden will sign it. He'll sign anything they put in front of him. Like Nancy Pelosi said, I don't say open sesame, I say open Biden, because whatever she puts right there on his desk, he's going to sign. No $2,000 stimmy checks, no minimum wage increase. What's going on with that? We'll talk about all those things. Also, did you guys see my video about the Baltimore student that had a 0 GPA? Oh, I have more to say about that. I have more to say about that. You guys may have been able to tell, but I was really upset. I was really triggered by that whole situation. Also, shout out to Michael Brown Sr. It's unfortunate that Black Lives Matter has not given you anything, sir. That's really unfortunate, but I mean, what are you going to expect? That's what they do. This Black Lives Matter. They're not going to give you a whole lot. But let's see what they say in response. Are they even going to respond to you requesting $20 million? Okay, your son's death is what sparked Black Lives Matter's movement back in 2014. So 2021, you've not gotten a dime yet. Are you going to get anything? We'll see. We'll talk about the hate hoaxes and a few more things on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And again, thank y'all for joining me. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. I couldn't do it without y'all, so thank y'all for being here. If you enjoy the content, if you enjoy what you've been hearing thus far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. We're going to get into it. I'm not even really sure where to begin. What else we got? We got the virus package, Baltimore, GPA, Michael Brown, hate hoaxes, Joy and Reid. We're talking about a few things here tonight, but I think I want to start with the virus package. It's probably a good place to start. So the virus package, $1.9 trillion virus stimulus package. This is way too much money. Like I said in my video, $1.9 trillion, and they didn't pass the trillion and some change last year, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, $1 trillion, think about it like this. The GDP of the whole world is like 90 trillion. Of all countries on planet Earth, the total what I say, GPA, the total money is $90 trillion. The total money, $90 trillion. So how are you going to be able to just keep spending trillion and trillion and trillion and trillion and trillion? It's just too much money, 1.9 trillion. And all you're really going to do is just print the money. That's going to cause massive inflation. And then you have like 0% interest rate. So if you got money in the bank, that's not getting any interest. All you really can do to hedge your money, GDP. Thank you. I said your GDP. All you can do to hedge against the inflation and whatnot is to buy stuff. So we're kind of a bearish market. People going out and just buying stuff. So that's and the GPA was on my mind. I'm gonna get to that a little bit later. But the Baltimore kid that had a 0.13 GPA, ridiculous. But anyway, all you can keep doing is just buying stuff. That's what's happening right now, and they're scalping everything. Everything is so hard to find. You can't even find Dr. Seuss books because Dr. Seuss got canceled to a certain extent. You try to go buy certain books, you can't even buy them. Everything's unavailable. Same thing that was going on when the virus first hit. You couldn't buy toilet paper and just real basic things. You couldn't buy it. But anyway, $1.9 trillion. This is a lot of money. The GDP of the world is $90 trillion. Anyway, in this bill, what are we going to get from it? A lot of the things in there are not even going to come to fruition until years later. The minimum wage increase, if it was to be live, would not fully be realized until 2025. So what does that got to do with right now in 2021 with the whole virus thing and any kind of negative economic impact as a result of the virus? Okay, You got to think it's going to be in 2025, 2029, years down the road. What does it got to do with right now? All right. And really, if it's about trying to bring America back and getting us back on our feet, why are we spending so much money? That's going to just make things worse. You're just going to cause inflation. So if you don't have any money, if you're on the street, if you're homeless or whatever the case may be, you're going to make the problem worse. If my goods and services are going to cost more, if everything's going to be inflated, it's harder for me as a person that's on the street, that's homeless, that does not have any money to be able to buy anything. If I've been saving money, it's worthless. So it's a bad situation. But anyway, 1.9 trillion and the stimmy checks, 1,400, as much you're going to get. Hopefully you got a check last time just for 600. If you got that, you get the 14 on top of that, then you get your 2,000. But a lot of guys are saying, hey, I did not get my first stimmy check. Maybe you got the one that came out in the summertime, but you didn't get the most recent one for 600. Like, what was that, in December? So you didn't get the $600 one, and the 1,400. That's all you're really going to get if you get it. They reduced the income. So the income cap last time for a single person was $100,000. For a married couple, $200,000. That was your income cap. If you made below that in the calendar year 2019 on your tax return in 2020, then you were eligible to get the stimmy. But now it's $80,000. It said between $75,000 and $80,000. It makes no sense. How is it going to be between $75,000 and $80,000? It's $80,000. So $80,000 and $160,000 for married couples. That's your caps now. So they've reduced the income that you are able to get the stimulus. And they're saying that if you've not filed taxes yet, it'll be based on your 2019 taxes. So like I was saying in my video, if you made $80,000 in 2019, that's right at the cap. You've just missed the stimulus. But in 2020, you lost your job. You did not have a job from March on, or you may have had a job after March, but you went from having a nice job, making $80,000, to waiting tables, making like $20,000 or $30,000. Matter of fact, not waiting tables because everything was closed. Maybe you were just doing a job that paid you much less money because of everything being shut down. So you went from making $80,000 to $30,000, and you need that check for whatever you need it for. I'm not trying to judge nobody in a situation. I will say that if you need the 1,400, there's other things going on, but that's the case for all of us in America. The stimulus check is just kind of a stopgap measure. We got bigger fish to fry. We got to get the economy back 1,000% open. And shout out to Texas, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee to a certain extent, Georgia to a certain extent, aside from Atlanta for some reason. Shout out to everybody that's open. I think even ATL is open to a certain extent because everybody's going down there, but that's a different story. We'll talk about in a little bit. But shout out to everybody that's opening up because it's time. We are at the 1-year anniversary of 15 days of slow to spread and flatten the curve. Remember that? Oh, just 15 days. We just got to stay home, y'all, and just, hunker down. Just 15 days of slow to spread, flatten the curve. And then it kept getting extended and extended and extended until we are a year later. And I think Virginia still has some stay-at-home orders. Why? For what purpose? This is why I say Virginia is kind of like, I don't want to say doomed, but they're pretty much in the bad spot because of Washington, D.C. Virginia is the only place that I know of that has some kind of stay-at-home order. And if I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments below. But basically, it's like this. Virginia's politics is basically Washington, D.C. politics. That's really what it is. D.C. controls Virginia. That's why they still got the stay-at-home order, because if everybody, these D.C. Bureaucrats getting scared, the Northern Virginia weirdos getting scared and putting everybody in the same boat. That's kind of what's going on, right? But anyway, the bill does not have a lot in it that's really going to help you. You're talking about the stimmy checks, $1,400. If you're going to get it, good luck with that. And the unemployment insurance is there as well, but they reduced that. And that's good that they reduced it, because if you have high unemployment insurance, that will cause people to not want to go back to work, because, okay, we're kind of like getting back to work, we're reopening or whatever. And a lot of these jobs that could be occupied are not being occupied because the unemployment insurance is more attractive. You see what I'm saying? What's the point of going back to work for $8 an hour, $9 an hour? And yes, I am, Doug. I'm glad that I got out of Virginia. Yes, I am. But what's the point in working for $8, $9, $10 an hour, grinding, going hard in the restaurant, and you scared of the cooties when you could just stay at home and collect unemployment? I was reading the comments today on the Facebooks, and somebody said that it's a black guy that they know out in Colombia from America that's chilling off of unemployment insurance from America. How is that possible? How are you in a whole different part of the world and you eating off of money that you got from America, unemployment insurance? Like, if you were able to go to Colombia, do you really need unemployment insurance out there to live on? That's what he's doing right now. Chilling, having an extended vacation. See, stuff like that is a problem. If you got enough money to be able to bounce from the United States and go on a whole vacation in a different country and party it up, live it up, then something's wrong. All right. This is what I was saying before about these programs incentivizing laziness, incentivizing people to not go back to work. What's the point? Okay. Everywhere I go around here, I see help wanted, help wanted, help wanted. So this whole thing about, I can't find a job is just bogus. There's jobs everywhere. But the question is, do you want to do it? And what makes more sense? Collecting unemployment, scheming, scamming the system, or working hard, working for a living. That welfare state is a beast. It incentivizes, a lack of production, and we can't have that in America. But shout out to everybody on the Democratic side of the aisle, not for voting for this monstrosity of a bill, 1.9 trillion, not for voting for that, but for voting against the minimum wage increase, because that was a line item that had its own separate vote. They were trying to insert that as an amendment, but it just failed. I think that came from Bernie Sanders. The $15 an hour, that was a non-starter from the beginning, in my humble opinion. But shout out to everybody that voted against it on the Democratic side of the aisle. Shout out to Kristen Sinema for emphatically voting against it. I really enjoyed that. The thumbs down with the bop, that was hilarious. Matter of fact, if I could find that, I'm going to put it on the screen right quick. But I think even the craziest of liberals at a certain point will understand basic economics. They will understand basic mathematics. They have to. They have to understand these basic things. I would find it difficult to believe that they don't. Matter of fact, here it is. Okay. Let's go ahead and put this on the screen right quick, if I can, if it'll let me. Give me 1 second, and we're going to go ahead and get it rocking. Oh, and if you like what you're hearing so far, give me your thumbs up. Share the video, like the video, do all that good stuff for me. I'd appreciate you if you did. And here we go. And the tweet was funny from this guy, Sawyer Hackett. I don't know who he is. He's a blue check mafia member. But the tweet from him says, does cinema really have to vote against a pension minimum wage for 24 million people like this? And I was like, my response was, yes, she did. So that's her right there. It's kind of small, but she walks out and then thumbs down with a little schoolgirl bop. That was hilarious. So shout out to her for giving the thumbs down, a la John McCain. I'm not a fan of John McCain, obviously, but I appreciate this Democratic senator for emphatically voting against the minimum wage. And on top of that, to tell you how crazy the minimum wage is, $15 an hour, she's the person that says that there should be a higher minimum wage and there should be a debate on it. And if you work full time, you should not live in poverty, which is a fallacy. Because first of all, if you work minimum wage, you're not going to get full-time hours. That defeats the purpose. Because if you work full-time hours, I got to give you benefits and all kind of stuff. I don't want to do that if you're working on minimum wage. You see, there's all kind of laws and things set up to supplement income by the government if you work minimum wage anyway, quiet as it's kept. A lot of people would be upset if they made $15 an hour because they would not have the government benefits to back them up. Now, I'm not saying the government benefits are good. I'm just saying that's just the way the system is set up. So people talking about living wage this, living wage that, they don't take things into consideration. Life situation, all the benefits they get, if they got kids and everything else. Oh, and the STEMI, the 1,400 or the 2,000, whatever it is, that also applies to dependents. So if you are a parent and let's say you're a married couple and you got 3 kids, well, each person in the household gets the STEMI, the 14 and or the 600 you're supposed to get before. So everybody gets the money. Now, if you are a dependent yourself, you don't get that money yourself. Your parent gets the money, or whoever, your guardian, or whatever the case may be. Whoever's claiming you as a dependent gets that money, and you don't get that money. So if you're trying to get the new PlayStation 5 from a scalper or whatever the case may be with your stimmy check, well, good luck with that. You better ask your mama, your daddy, or somebody else will give you the money. And I guarantee you, these quote unquote stimmies are going to be spent on the most ridiculous nonsense you ever seen in your life. I'm talking about scalper PlayStations, drugs, alcohol, all types of vacations, all that good stuff. You're going to see these stimulus checks get burned like a cigar, straight up just in smoke. That's what's going to happen to these checks. All right. So, but yeah, that's what's happening right now. And to answer anybody's question about the stimmy check, you will get your check, they said, by the end of this month, by the end of March. They're trying to have everything finalized by March 14th. So you'll get paid by the end of this month. That's what they say. That may or may not be true, because the same thing was said with the last checks. Oh, you get it pretty soon, all this, that, and the third. It's all kind of complications. Oh, my check got lost in the mail. I have direct deposit, but it didn't hit my bank account. Or I got sent to the wrong address, all kind of stuff. So it's supposed to be out by the end of the month, but that may not be happening because of complications. You know how the government is. The government are not very good at doing things like this. They're not very good at giving you money. But when you send the money, oh, hey, try to send the IRS some money. That thing get cashed immediately. Okay? I cut a check to the IRS, and before I had mailed it, it got cashed. I'm like, how'd that happen? You got magic powers? You just get my check from my house? They will cash your check immediately. But try to get 1 red cent back from the federal government, and hey, good luck with that. You might, grab a Snickers, because you're going to be waiting. But I digress. What else we got? Okay, I need to get into the whole Baltimore thing, but did I talk about the virus enough? The stimulus package? Okay, $1,400 checks, that's coming out pretty soon by the end of the month. If you do not get your first check at $600, then you're pretty much out back. I can't do nothing for you. Maybe you get it, maybe you won't. Hey, just roll the dice, and that's pretty much the chances right there of getting the first check that you're supposed to have already before the second one comes out. Oh, one more thing. I almost forgot about this important part. If you are looking for that money, the stimulus check, the $1,400, file your taxes. Okay, I'll put it to you like this. I got to be legal here, so I got to tighten my invisible tie up right quick and just tighten up a little bit. The stimulus check will be based on your most recent tax returns stated income. And the limit for this one is $80,000 single, $160 married. So basically the same thing if you married just by, two incomes together, 80 and 80, 160. But anyway, 80 single, 160 married. If you made less than that in 2020, but you made more than that in 2019, go ahead and file your tax return right now to display that, because they're basing it off of your most recent tax return. And I won't say anything more than that, because I ain't trying to go to the penitentiary. I ain't trying to do big rocks, little rocks. So you put 2 and 2 together and get 4. So, hey, I gave you too much already. That might be enough right there to get me hemmed up. So you pretty much figure it out. All right. Okay, so I covered everything with the virus stimulus package. Way too much money, hyperinflation. I'm not trying to pay $500 for a loaf of bread, but different story. I'll move on. Let's get to the Baltimore lad, shall we? Now, this video had me heated. I'm talking about Bunsen burner. I'm talking about teapot, all of that. Mad. Forest fire, mad, right? So there's a school in Baltimore, a visual art school, some kind of magnet program, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, at this school, they got about 500 kids total in the entire school. I think it's a 9 through 12, if I'm not mistaken. But it one graduating class that had 120 kids in one 12th grade class. Now, out of all the kids in this class, one person had a GPA of 0.13, not 1.3, but 0.13, right? 0.13. And that GPA ranked him 62 out of 120. So when I saw that, I'm talking about smoke came from my ears like the cartoons. How can you have almost a 0 GPA and be ranked at the middle of your class? You have a median grade point average. Median grade point average with a 0.13. And one thing I learned from you guys in the comments, so shout out to y'all. You guys are very good, knowledgeable people. You guys told me that, hey, a lot of these schools, like in Baltimore, a lot of these ghetto areas or whatever, they can't give you any less than the 50. They have to give you a 50 at least because it gives you a chance to be able to pass. They can't give you a 0 in the class because the kid had missed almost an entire year worth of classes. He missed 359 days in his entire career, 9 through 12. He missed almost an entire year's worth of days in his entire career. When I was a kid, if you missed 10 days when I was a kid in a semester, which is half of the school year, if you missed 10 days, you failed automatically. You failed. I mean, you had to have been like in a car wreck, in a coma or something like that to get an excuse. Even if you were in a car wreck, in a coma, on some, ABC TV movie type stuff, you still might get failed. I'm talking about it was strict, and you have to have rules and guidelines in school. That's just how it is. You can't just, do whatever you want to do in school. But anyway, he missed an entire year, a whole calendar year of days in his high school career. So obviously you're not going to school. So if you get a 50 in the class, that tells me you're not going. Okay. Now, his report card was full of Fs. F. It was crazy. And the crazy part was they were trying to say, all right, he's in the 12th grade, he's a senior, but he's going to go all the way back to the 9th grade. And then they interviewed the mom. Oh, boy. Good grief. Oh, my. Man, the mom had me heated because I come from poor environments too, right? I know what it's like to be in the ghetto and seeing roaches flying in the cafeteria landing on my pizza. I know what that's like, right? But my mom, if I brought home an F, do you understand? I'm talking about, we're not Nigerian or nothing, but I can understand how Nigerian parents are, where it's like, or any kind of really good parent, but you might actually die. You might actually get hurt seriously for bringing home an F. This kid had F. And the mother was like, oh, I didn't know that he was going to fail. I didn't know that. For real, you get a report card, they're calling you, they're doing all that stuff, and you just like, oh, I didn't know he was failing. Come on. If that's the case, then you're not even really there. Talking about she had 3 jobs. So what? My mom had 2 jobs. She would leave to go to her job and come back for like 5 minutes, for a quick break, and leave right back out and come back at night when I'm getting ready to go to bed or when I'm already asleep. But yet and still, my grades are up there always. Always have my report card checked. She was always on me about my academics and reading and doing mathematics and basic stuff, right? And I was a good student as a result. I had early education as well from my mom. So I'm not trying to hear the excuse about, oh, well, I'm at work and I can't do it. I don't want to hear it. The mother did not care about this boy. So he's in the 12th grade and they're saying, okay, go back to the 9th. What's the point in going back to the 9th if he has a 0.13 grade point average and he's been here the entire time at that school? What's the point? At that age, if you're 17, 18 years old, a senior in high school, and you probably can't even read, just drop out. Try to work. Try to, become a mechanic or something like that. Work, try to be working in construction, a mechanic. You probably can't do military because you might not be able to pass academically, but do something. Going to school is a waste of time at that point. You're already 18. What's the point of going back to the 9th grade with 14-year-olds? Why? But that whole thing was crazy. But the crazier part was that it wasn't just him. So it wasn't just that one mother or that one situation. He was the middle of the pack. Now, I'm not going to say to anybody, go out and try to find the kids at the school, nothing like that. But I saw their ceremony for graduation, and they had I think it might have been the valedictorian reading. And if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But I believe it was the valedictorian trying to read, and it was crazy. Could not read. I mean, okay. I watch videos occasionally of people reading, and I can tell when they can read and when they can't read. Even if they are reading, they may not be able to read. And a prime example is this. If they have an unnatural cadence, if they're struggling to read certain words, they can't really read. They recognize certain words, but they don't understand really what they mean, and they don't understand how to use them in the proper context. It's just kind of like chanting words they halfway recognize, but they're not actually reading. When you can read fluently and fluently. This person was a valedictorian and they could not read. Senior in high school can't read. And again, I'm reading comments in the, on the video I did, and somebody said, shout out to you. This is a great comment. Somebody said, hey, I worked at a community college in Philadelphia, and a young lady came in and did a test to come into the college before you come in, and it tested her at a remedial reading level. And the grandma called in and said, hey, she was valedictorian in her high school. So how are you the valedictorian and they can't read? This is what these schools are producing. And then the thing is, it makes all of us that come from these areas, black folks that come from the inner city, look bad. Oh, that's just y'all. That's just what it is. Meanwhile, I know guys that have been to the penitentiary that I know guys I could call right now that if I would say, hey, it's crazy out here, come on out. They're like, all right, let's do it right now. No questions asked. I know those kind of guys that can read. I'm talking about they can write poetry. They are very intelligent with reading, writing, arithmetic. They just made bad choices in their life. Okay, they were just bad kids. They made bad choices or had a bad home life, but they know how to read. I mean, if you got a child, unless you're just developmentally like disabled or something like that, to where you're not going to be able to learn properly, all kids can learn these basic skills. But the question is, are they being taught these basic skills? Dad would tell me about Norfolk public schools, low graduation rate and all kind of stuff. And also about the gap between black and white kids. This is where the gap really comes from what he was saying and from what I've been able to observe. You can see a school in the hood where you got black and white kids at, and there will be a big gap in between the reading and between the like, how about a kindergarten class? This is a good example. Kindergarten class, you have like an 18% reading proficiency on that level in kindergarten, and the white kids would be like an 80% proficiency. So it's like, how is it a big difference in kindergarten? Little kids, like 4 or 5 years old. Well, a lot of times the white kids will have their mom help them with reading before they get to school. I'm talking about flashcards. I had all these things, right? I had flashcards, Sesame Street, Reading Rainbow, Dr. Seuss, all these books I would read, all the flashcard games, all the, counting to 10, counting to 50, counting to 100, spelling my own name, coloring in the lines. I was doing all of that before I got to school. But a lot of these black kids have nothing. They go to school as a blank slate. So if I'm already knowing how to read, write, color, write my own name, and I know how to do these things, and you have nothing, you're always going to be behind. You'll always be. And then if you get to the 3rd grade and you've not caught up, it's over. And a lot of times that culture that was already there from the beginning will persist all the way throughout their entire, elementary school, middle school, high school, and then that's it. If they go to high school, if they graduate or whatever the case, that's really how it is. I watched all those things, Reading Rainbow. So that's why the whole thing about Dr. Seuss really got on my nerves, because those are my favorite books. Shel Silverstein, Dr. Seuss, these are great books that will teach you how to read. Okay, a lot of these kids, when they're writing, they don't know what, there, and there. I think it's all the same word. They don't know two, and two, there, and there. But if you were able to read some of these books, you would understand how to tell a difference. How to speak and how to read, it's all linked together. But anyway, 0.13. And when people say ABL, they got to get more funding. No, I said the same thing with Destiny back in 2018. That old debate I did with him. He talking about, matter of fact, I'm gonna talk about that. He said, first of all, you got to have more gyms. It's like, I laughed when he said you got to have more gyms in the school. I'm like, gyms? The last thing we need in the black community, in the so-called poor community, is basketball. We got that all day long. And then the boy that had a 0.13 GPA, he had F, but he had a B in one class. Guess what it was? PE. Of course, because you go to school, play basketball, and bounce. All right? All we do. Look at the NBA, full of guys, 80, 90% black. NBA, the NBA, 80, 90% black. NFL, like 60, 70% black. We know how to play basketball and football. We do that all day. That's the easy part. We need reading, writing, and arithmetic. The 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic. Okay, we need that, not basketball. That's the first thing. The second thing, I almost forgot. You're talking about basketball, and then, the money. They get $17,500 per student. $17,500 per student in that school. I saw the graduation, the little virtual ceremony, and the teachers iced out watches, cufflinks, earrings, all that. The kids can't read. It was a quote from back in the day. Mark Zuckerberg gave like $100 million to a school in Newark, New Jersey. And a person was asked about where the money went. Say, hey, where's the money gone that Mark Zuckerberg gave you guys in Newark schools? And the person was like, well, everybody got paid. Okay, the people in the top got paid, the administrators, the consultants, everybody got paid, but Raheem still can't read. That's what's happening right now in Baltimore City. How can you fix it? Oh, the teachers' unions, the bad administration, and, threaten the funding. A lot of these kids are just there just to, what's happening? The kids are bad. They don't want to go to school. The teachers are just trying to get money. What you have is like a daycare center that's heavily funded by the city and sometimes the federal government. So, close the school down if it's failing like that. Or you can't close the school because the kids got to learn. Look, if the valedictorian can't read, what are we doing? What's the point? Close it. I say close it. Privatize. I say privatize school more. And, the funny part is that we've become customized to having school be free. You go to third world countries, you got to pay for school. Go to Nigeria, you paying for school. Ghana, you go to Africa, you paying for school. It's not free. And they're living on next to nothing. So I say go ahead and close it. Why not? And if you want to go to a school, you need to be able to, or I'll put it to you like this. You need to be able to maintain a certain level of a certain GPA to stay in school. And you need to be able to test well for your academic markers for reading and writing. They say only 2 kids out of the whole school could read or write at a proficient level. And all that means is you're just meeting benchmarks, which are low because, you gotta be, you can't be racist, right? So basically you put cat in the hat in front of them and then put 2 plus 2 and have them solve that. And if they can't do it, then they're not proficient. If they can, then they are proficient. 2 kids at the whole school. Close the whole school down. And we don't really need more male teachers. We just need better parents, really, because it all starts with the parents. The parents don't care. The parents are drinking and drugging and thugging, doing whatever they want to do. The kids don't care. They doing the same thing the parents doing. If they have any parents, probably raised by grandmama. Grandma about 85 years old. She don't know what's going on. The teachers don't really care because they're just trying to get paid. They're trying to get iced out. I'm talking about Rolex, cufflinks, all that. But your kids can't read. I'd be embarrassed. I would not show my face and say, you know what, I'm a teacher at this school and then I'm iced out. But I digress. So, I don't know what you could do because when I was coming up in poor areas, violent areas, it wasn't like that. Even the kids that were kind of like thugged out knew how to read and could do math. All right. I got letters from my friends that had been locked up. I could, if I still had them, I'd bring them out. Letters, beautifully written from guys in jail. in jail, like 6, 8, 9, 10 years in the penitentiary that can read and write very well. So you can fix it, but it's a problem of a lot of factors that need to just come into place. But I digress. All right, what else we got going on? So shout out to Michael Brown Sr. Remember the whole thing about hands up, don't shoot, right? In Baltimore? Not Baltimore, pardon me. I was at the same time. That was Freddie Gray. But hands up, don't shoot was in Ferguson, Missouri. So you know the whole story, 2014 or 2015, whichever one it was, where Michael Brown, he goes into the store, he's strong arm robs the clerk, he comes out, confronted by the police officer, he charged the cop shoots him, he dies unfortunately, may rest in peace. The narrative was that Michael Brown said, hey, hands up, don't shoot me, don't shoot me. That was a narrative, and that narrative pretty much stuck, and Black Lives Matter was born. Either they were born right there or they were born with Freddie Gray. Either way it goes, that's when I first heard about Black Lives Matter. That's when it really came about. You had DeRay McKesson and people like that came about. And what Black Lives Matter did was peruse around the whole nation, tearing cities down, tearing neighborhoods down. A lot of black neighborhoods, right? They tear them down all because of social justice and hands up, don't shoot, and I can't breathe and all this and that and the third, right? Any kind of so-called injustice, they would come out and do something, some kind of violent, dangerous, crazy rally. There was a guy, Michael Xavier Johnson, that killed, I think, 4 or 5 cops in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, because of Black Lives Matter. So all of that started around the time that Michael Brown Jr. was shot by the cop out there in Ferguson. Michael Brown, obviously, he was black. The cop was white. But anyway, Michael Brown Sr. and the activists out there in Ferguson got on Instagram and said, hey, Black Lives Matter is doing really well. According to an AP report, they got like $90 million in 2020, although it's more than $90 million. I read a report that says that BLM and BLM-like entities got $10.6 billion with a B, $10.6 billion in the year 2020. So they say, hey, we need to get $20 million because you guys are not breaking us off any money. That's pretty terrible. Michael Brown got killed in 2014. So it's now 2021. It's 7 years later almost. So have they not given them any money since that time? They should have. But, I mean, they're demanding it now. A little bit too late. And when you get anything from BLM, why would they? Where is the actual reason? What's the incentive to do it? Why? They've not done it so far. They raised $10.6 billion without giving them any money. So why would they need to give them money to raise more money? As far as PR, don't nobody care. Like people like Microsoft, all these corporations that give Black Lives Matter money, they don't really care about what they do with it. All they care about is giving the money as a charitable tax write-off. It looks good for PR. Black Lives Matter. Yeah, we down with the cause. We'll put on a Black Lives Matter shirt one time a year. We'll go and do a race training, some kind of critical race theory thing. We'll pay 10 Ys or some other random moron $100,000 to come speak for about 15 minutes, and we're good. We good money. It's a small amount of money, small piece of the budget. We're straight, right? Set aside already anyway. It's not even a problem to us. It's PR. That's really what it is. We don't really care about what you do with the money. So giving Michael Brown Sr. some money won't help them. So what's the point? And it's really a shame because shouldn't they be doing that? Shouldn't they be giving money to activists and people that are in the so-called black community? Shouldn't they be doing that? Shouldn't you start with so-called victims of police brutality and their family? So my question to anybody in the chat is, where is the money going? Okay, where's the money going at? They raised $10.6 billion, not just BLM with the $10.6 billion, but BLM and BLM-like operations. It might be a guy to come up with his own little group, and he might raise $500,000. That's included in that $10.6 billion. Okay, but they've raised hundreds of millions of dollars over the years for sure. So where's the money going? That's what I want to know. Like I said, is it going to any kind of charitable? Like, is it going to a Black Lives Matter food drive, a Black Lives Matter homeless shelter, a Black Lives Matter school, a Black Lives Matter self-defense course, a Black Lives Matter anything? Where is it going? It going to their pockets. I forgot where it's going. I almost forgot. Oh, silly me. Black Lives Matter raises money through Act Blue, right? That's the Democratic Party's fundraising platform. And Act Blue takes a piece of the transactions that comes through and they give to whoever they want to give to as Act Blue. All right. So some of that money that they've raised is most certainly going towards Joe Biden. Joe, you ain't black Biden. Joe, you got to have a slight Indian accent Biden. Joe, you ain't taking over America. Matter of fact, have you guys seen that? The whole comment about India taking over America. Let me put it on the screen right quick. This is on Instagram so you guys can see it. I'm going to show you the most recent clip and then the clip about the Indian accent and Dunkin' Donuts or whatever that was from 2016. So it's not just a matter of, oh, this is an old clip, ABL, you just cherry picking. Nah, he said the thing about Indian Americans recently in the Oval Office on camera so everybody can see it. And he said a similar thing in 2016. What's that? 15 years ago. So this is the same guy. All right. So check it out. Was he wrong? I mean, I don't think that he's right about that because you still a pretty small population talking about Indian Americans. That's just how he feels. All right. So if anybody, it'd be Hispanic Americans, but that's a different story. Okay. Check it out here. Hold on. Let me play it right quick.
Am I supposed to speak or is Swathi going to say something? I was told I was going to hear from Swathi.
Either way, any way you'd like to do it is fine. We have Dr. Mohan here with me. Of course, you know her from the landing coverage.
Hey, Doc, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Mr. President.
I just want you to know.
For taking the time to speak with us.
Are you kidding me? What an honor this is. This is an incredible honor. And it's amazing. Indian of descent Americans are taking over the country. You, my vice president, my speechwriter, Vinay, I tell you what.
Manish, how are you, man? Well, good to see you. As you know, I got a lot of support from you, Cindy.
That's where, and more to come, I think.
Yeah,
so.
No, I've had a great relationship. Right. In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
So that's him. That's your man, Joe Biden. So, you know, it is what it is. Hey, but like, let Trump have said something like that. I wish if Trump said something like that, oh, racist and white supremacists, they'd be in DC right now trying to take over the Black House Autonomous. Remember the whole thing, the Black House Autonomous Zone? They'd be doing something like that. They're still trying to say, he said Mexicans are rapists, murderers, all this. They're still trying to say that from years ago, which wasn't even the case. He's talking about gang members. He's talking about gang members being violent, and then they wanted to attack him for that. He says this about, you can't go into, 7-Eleven, Dunkin' Donuts. You got to have an Indian accent, and that's totally fine. That's all right because it's Joe Biden. If it was anybody on the right, they'd be immediately seen as a racist. So this whole thing is just, it's so silly to see what people get outraged about that they totally let slide when it comes from a person on the left. That's just kind of what's happening. All right. So, yeah, shout out to Sleepy Joe and shout out to Black Lives Matter. Hopefully people recognize what Black Lives Matter is. I've been saying this for years and years and years. They're just trying to get money. They're a fake organization. They're not real. Marxist organization. They're terrible. They're one of the worst things I've seen that I've come across in my lifetime. And that's no exaggeration. Black Lives Matter is ridiculous. Oh, also, he called us Neanderthals. I almost forgot about that one. Thank you, NKM. Said you have Neanderthal thinking. So I was like, oh, okay, so we're Neanderthals. You got to have a slight Indian accent, all kind of stuff. Okay, vote for me, you ain't black, all kind of ridiculous things like that. So, hey, also, here's a nice little nugget, and I've said this before, and I think I may have been called homophobic for saying it. Maybe if it comes from Barack Obama, it'd be better. But here's a little nugget right there. You see it on the screen. If you can't, I'll just read it for you. New book. Obama said Buttigieg couldn't win presidency because he's gay and short. But I said the same thing, really. Buttigieg, gay and short, that's not really going to win you the presidency right there. But I got to call homophobic for saying that. Thank you for the tea. But I would say, you're homophobic, ABL. You're not being open. It's like, I'm not trying to say nothing. I'm just telling you what it is. Short guys generally don't win the presidency. You got to be at least about 6 foot. That's just because it's optics, really. And you're gay, they're not really ready for that. They're just not really ready for that. And it's fine. That's just, that's where we are as a people in America. You got to respect that. But if Obama says it, then it's not even the peak made. You probably didn't even hear about this yet. But what if Trump said something like that about Boo Edge? They were mad at him for calling them Boo Edge. That was a controversy. But Obama says you can't win because you're gay and short. Then that's fine. But hey, I'm not saying he's wrong. Buttigieg's like 5'8" or something, 5'8", 5'9". I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying look at the hypocrisy. Yeah, I said the same thing, really. How tall is he? I'm not really sure. I think he's about 5'8", 5'9". But basically, he's not 6 foot tall. You could tell that right away. All right. So what else we got going on? Let me get back to where I was. And, okay, let's check it out. Oh, the hate hoaxes. Did you see that, the fake hate hoax? The guy called the police on himself to try and spark some kind of George Floyd type situation. So this guy, I don't know. He's got to be something's wrong with this guy. Mentally disabled, mentally ill, or both. I don't know what's happening, but this guy had already done this before, calling the police on the fake call. He already done this before. And matter of fact, when he called the police on himself to try and spark the whole George Floyd thing, he had an ankle monitor on his ankle. So he was already in trouble, had been in jail before, was out with an ankle monitor, called the police on himself to try and spark a George Floyd situation. So the phone call was something like this. Okay, there's a young colored man, he said colored, there's a young colored man with a pistol and he's fidgeting it around. So you guys got to come here quick. And they gave a description and it was his own description. So when the police get there, they go to him because he told him their description. But all they did was ask him a few questions and they didn't find the gun. And he was like, and they were like, okay, where you going? He's like, okay, I'm going to my DOC officer for my meeting because I'm on parole or whatever the case may be. And then that was the end of it. And then he goes to the officer and says, okay, I was racially profiled yesterday by police because I'm black. Meanwhile, he called the police on himself. And this superstar rocket scientist, 3 million IQ genius, used his own personal cell phone with his voice on the voicemail. So all they did was call the number. They recognized his voice on the voicemail. And then they were able to see his same number and other calls to dispatch. And he had done a fake call before. So it was easy to get him. Like, they got your number, they got your voice, they got you, they saw you with an ankle monitor on. You already been in trouble before? I see more of these hate hoaxes than I see actual hate crimes. Way more. The prevalence of hate hoaxes is off the charts. They're all over the place. You can find these like flowers on the ground, like blades of grass. They're so abundant. Juicy Smouye, like we've not learned from Juicy Smouye had this airtight little hate hoax they thought was airtight, but that thing was loose as a goose. I'm talking about Africans trying to play white guys. It's a trillion degrees below zero. The wording was all off. It's mega country in Chicago, Illinois, the middle of the polar vortex, really. He thought it was airtight. He thought he had a perfect plan, bulletproof. Your harebrained scheme did not go well at all. Bubba Wallace with the garage pool, talking about something, it's a noose in my garage. Just stupid stuff. Stupid stuff. Okay. I've not seen Juicy Smouye since. Bubba Wallace is racing with Team Jordan, though. I heard he's doing okay. And they give him like these little pats on the back for leading one lap. They report on that. It's like, try one in the race. How about that? Okay. But I've not seen Juicy Smouye since. He probably still around because he got a pretty powerful family. His sister is also an actress. She's been in a lot of movies and stuff like that. Eve's Bayou. She was also a child star. She's also on a show called Underground on one of these stations. I don't really watch TV. But she's doing pretty well for herself, so they'll be all right. But I've not really seen them. But at a certain point, these hate hoaxes become the norm. So then when there's a real hate crime, people ignore it. It's like, okay, are you playing? Is it a real situation or is it a hoax? I don't want to fall for banana in the tailpipe no more. Don't feed me no BS. If it's real, then it's real. If it's not, then it's not. And that's pretty much it. But you already know what time it is. Oh yeah, I'm ready to rock, Latanya. I'm ready to go ahead and get it rocking and rolling. Oh yeah, the pizza parlor guy. Yeah, the pizza parlor guy talking about his shop was vandalized by Trump supporters or racist white supremacists, right? And they took the TVs off the wall. But meanwhile, he was found driving in the truck with the TVs in the back, in the bed. It's like, sir, you couldn't put a tonneau cover over that? Put a tonneau cover over the TVs at least. I can see the TVs in your truck right now. So you can't hide that. If you're just driving on the road, anybody could be on the road. These schemes are not really thought out too well. If you're going to do some kind of criminal activity, at least be, not a moron. But generally, morons will do things like this, hate hoaxes. All right, that's generally how it goes. You every now and again get a smart guy that does crimes like this, but for the most part, it's morons that do things like this, and they're easily found out. But see, the problem is when the hate hoax happens, people see the hate hoax and they don't see the follow-up a lot of times. Now, with Juicy Smouye, the follow-up was epic. Dave Chappelle did a whole comedy skit on it on a special on Netflix, so millions saw the follow-up. But a lot of times, the whole hands up, don't shoot thing, you don't see the Eric Holder, Attorney General under Obama, went to Ferguson and debunked it. People still don't believe that. They still say hands up, don't shoot. Although it's been debunked years and years and years ago, people still believe in it. So a lot of times, the follow-up, the retraction, the update does not get a lot of attention. It doesn't get more than the original story did, unfortunately. So it is what it is. All right. So, yeah, the mask wearing, tearing them brain cells up, huh? I'm glad that all these states are reducing their mask mandates. Texas, Mississippi, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida. They still have some places like Walmart, Target. They might want to enforce it, but I'm seeing less and less of that. Okay. I went to Walmart the other day. Young man asked me, do you want a mask? I'm like, no, thank you. And then that was it. It wasn't this whole big hubbub. Like, you got to wear a mask. Shout out to Brandon Tatum. I saw he did a video about somebody that had to put on a mask in the Starbucks drive-thru. It's like, look, I'm in my car. If you're going to hand me the drink at the same time you want to, okay, the person was saying, I can hand you a mask, you put on the mask, and then I hand you a drink. So, okay, just hand me the drink and be done with it rather than giving me a mask the same way you give me a drink. So it's like, okay, here's a mask, right? Okay, I give you the mask and then I give you the drink. What's the point? Just give me the drink and be done. So I have a good day. I got my app, scan my app right quick, right? Scan the app, give me the drink, and bon voyage. What's the point of wearing the mask in the drive-thru? I'm in my car. People are just kind of ridiculous. And I'm seeing people, they're wearing their mask, not around here, but I'm seeing some memes on some internet stuff, people wearing their mask by themselves, outside, gardening, watering the lawn. It's like, why? What's the purpose? What's the purpose? Oh yeah, LeBron. I remember the whole thing about LeBron. Somebody sprayed the N-word on his gate. I'm like, all right. Where was this N-word thing at? Was it in Brentwood in LA? Really up there? Somebody went way up there and did that? I don't know if that makes any sense. And he didn't even see it. Like, it was reported to him, and then by the time he got back, it was already gone. So I don't know how that really happened. Yeah, so that whole thing is really crazy. What else we got going on? Did I get everything? I pretty much got everything. And shout out to Julian Reid talking about if you're on the right, you would give all your tax cuts to say the N-word in public again. Anybody trying to say the N-word? Matter of fact, there was a guy that got fired for saying the N-word in Florida. He was a police officer, right? And I'll put a picture on the screen before you so you can see who I'm talking about. And it's going to shock you. Well, it shouldn't shock you at this point. I think we have seen crazy things. All right. So that's him right there. Yes, it is. It's not a mishap. He's a black guy. And the headline says, Black police officer fired. The headline, this is 2K UTV, local news probably down there. Oh, this Salt Lake City news, but he got fired in Tampa, Florida. But anyway, Black police officer fired for using N-word while on duty. So you think we trying to just use the, if you say the N-word, that's like worse than being a sex offender in some cases. I'm not saying it is, obviously, but the backlash publicly is worse than that sometimes. You get your whole life ruined for doing stuff like that. So why would anybody want to do that? And like, what's the purpose? You rolling back tax cuts? I don't care about nothing about no. You talking about giving me money or saying the N-word that would just get me totally ruined? Why would I do that? But yeah, he was fired from the force for saying the N-word. So I don't want to hear no more about, oh, you can say it if you black amongst yourselves. How about don't say no racial slurs? And don't say that you don't get any kind of trouble for saying it if you're a black person. Obviously you do. Fired from his job for saying the N-word on duty. I think they had caught it on his body-worn camera. And it was like 2 times he said it. I forget what the situation was. But he's black. Clearly black. Like one of my kinfolk. And got fired, right? Let me see. And hold on. Here's a ticker. He was an 8-year veteran. He was heard on 2 different occasions, just 2 times saying the N-word. He had been recently assigned as a school resource officer at Middleton High School. Okay, as you said, the N-word is against the department's policy that prohibits discriminatory conduct. All right. On November 3rd, 2020, while on the phone call, a white body cam recorded him referring to a group of people as ghetto N-words. Got fired. So anybody trying to say that, Joanne Reid, it's y'all that want to say that on the left. It's y'all. Y'all want to say racial stuff and put everything in the category of race. It's y'all that do that. It's the same people that talk about QAnon this, QAnon that. Are you right-wing nut jobs or QAnon fanatics? But anytime I hear about QAnon, it's like a left-leaning place that's talking about it. Vice News, MS-13 DNC, they talk about Q more than anybody else. People wouldn't even know about Q, really, if it weren't for NBC reporting it. They are doing a better job in giving them airtime than the internet could, in my humble opinion. All right. So it is what it is. Now, I've not seen Coming to America yet, but I heard that it was kind of ridiculous. Leslie Jones, I heard she had an interesting performance. I'm going to watch that whenever I get a little bit of time and see what's happening. But I've not seen that yet. It's probably going to be bad. Whenever they do a reboot, it's always bad. I've not seen a good reboot yet of an old movie or TV show or something. It's always bad. It's never good because you can't capture what was going on back then at that time. The actors, they didn't get 30 years older. A lot of actors were coming up and they're hungry. One thing I know about actors and art in general, when you first coming out, when you're hungry, that's your best time because you're trying to get there. You're trying to just give it all you got. Once you get to be Eddie Murphy and you already are established and you have nothing to prove anymore, nothing to gain anymore, ain't gonna be no hunger there. It's just like, okay, I'm coming to work. So it ain't gonna be the same. But anyway, I'll see that whenever I get a chance. I may even do a review on it on the other channel. Who knows? All right, super chat's on deck, and then I'm gonna get to the calls. And if you like what you are hearing so far, give me a thumbs up on the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. All right, open immigration. I've not talked about that yet. That might be a call-in topic, but I've not spoken about that yet on the show. Shout out to Apu with a few super chats. Apu says, ABL, awesome video on Mr. Brown and Ferguson people demanding $20 million from Black Lives Matter. BLM owes reparations to all of those affected by BLM Antifa violence. There you go. He also says Victoria Rose Smith, Cannon, Hennett, Sequoia Turner, Horace Lorenzo Anderson Jr., Itala Marie Kelly, and David Dorn. David Patrick Underwood, Burnell Chamel, Tamaris Bohannon, Harold Preston, David McAtee, Chris Beatty, Jose Gutierrez, Jessica Dolly Whitaker. Those are all people that, were affected by Black Lives Matter, killed at Black Lives Matter rallies, or by BLM participants. Joy Reid saying Republicans want to use the N-word. She don't listen to rap. By the way, who hacked into her computer and left homophobic messages? Nobody. She put those there. Charles Turner Jr., who says the Democrats will keep overplaying their hands. 15 an hour minimum wage, stimulus checks, H.R. 1 should get defeated, and so should H.R. 127. Thank you to Santo Bartes, who says, do you think more people will believe that Earth is flat or that Wakanda is a real nation in Africa? Thanks again for your honesty and consistency. Yeah, because people are kind of dumb sometimes. Not all people. You guys are brilliant in the chat. Not you guys, but some people are dumb. they don't really know where nations are in the world. So if you were to say that Wakanda is real, they believe it. I mean, why not? They don't know what, if you were to say, okay, name 10 African countries, they might struggle with that. So if you were to say that Wakanda is a real country, they might believe it. Thank you to Matthew, who says, I don't always blame the white man, but when I do, it's always because of YouTube ads just before the ABL live stream. Shout out to Apu, who says, rappers murked on Atlanta highway. Where's NFAC? Oh, yeah, so it was a guy that got killed on the highway in Atlanta. I did not know of him before this thing. As Chucky Trill from Houston, Texas. I don't know who that is really, but may rest in peace. He was killed on the highway driving. And then Sahai the Prince, I know who that is. He's well, at one point was or still is with Kanye West, you know, over there with his good label music, his good music label. So he got shot on the highway. He didn't die though. And he actually didn't get shot. He was shot at. His car was shot up, but he didn't actually get hit. He had a big crash and his hands were messed up and he was, you know, pretty damaged from the shooting, but he was not actually hit. Guy was on the side that day because you get your car shot up on the highway. I mean, you're not dealing with a lot of space. You understand what I'm saying? Mo 3 in Dallas got shot on the highway and killed in Dallas. Another guy, Boosie got shot in Dallas. Might have been on the highway as well. A lot of guys, they said they had 7 shootings on the highway in Atlanta in 2021 already. I think it might have been 7 shootings and or killings or just shootings in general. Some died, some didn't. And it's not even just rappers or celebrities, regular people getting shot on the highway. It was one man that got shot in Buckhead, not Bankhead, Buckhead, in his Bentley or something in the middle of the night. Crazy. This is why somebody said, how you feel about Atlanta? It's dangerous because, you know, they're open. People are hungry. The wolves are out. The streets are out. It's, you know, it's a problem. Different crews coming in there. It's a problem. He also says Democratic Rep Al Green guarded Capitol. I saw that. That was so weak. Matter of fact, hold on. I'm put it on the screen if I can find it. So Al Green sat on the steps of the Capitol on March 4th. Oh, they said there was going to be a so-called insurrection on March 4th of those that believed that Trump was going to be inaugurated that day, and nobody showed up. It might have been 4 people that showed up, like a family and a guy with like gray hair. They were not going to do anything but just take pictures right there at the Capitol, and that's it. There was no risk of any kind of violence. But for that, it was like camera crews all over the place. I thought it was going to be a big riot. Nothing of the sort happened. Matter of fact, this is them right here. This is the extent of the March 4th so-called insurrection attempts, okay? Me, Mom, and Pawpaw just hanging out, chilling, not bothering the soul, not bothering, like, come on. They out there with little, you know, hoodies and small American flags and Trump hats chilling. That was it. And then the news reported it talking about, oh, some Trump supporters come down to the Capitol because they thought that Trump might be. And they use a picture right there. I'm like, you got 4 people that's about 65 years minimum. Come on. You have senior citizens out there. Stop it. But I'm going to find that one picture that I wanted to show you guys if I can. I might not be able to. But yeah, shout out to you, Apu. I appreciate you for your comments. Shout out to Wolfgang, who says, I think that in the big picture, a lot of the hyperinflation is being consumed by the crypto market. Lots of electricity being used in it, i.e. labor. Yep, probably so. Apu also says, Democratic Rep Ayanna Pressley proposes bill for 16-year-olds to vote. I'm down for that on one condition. To be eligible to vote, youth must watch 10 videos by ABL and read books by Owens and Sowell. Hey, I'm with it. I am with it. Go ahead and get her done. Wolfgang says, basic mathematics, what is called in this, basic mathematics, is that what called in a situation? If not, then the answer is not understanding basic mathematics. Sounds like topology. Wolfgang also says, okay, Scalper gets all the stimmies. What then? Ian Kenny says, but they're going to do research and video on the Great Reset. It's been covered by people like Anomaly, Glenn Beck, extensively, Russell Brand, and Laura Ingram. did a segment on Fox News. Thanks, boss. I'll check it out. But I've just not had any no real time to dig into it. But I'm gonna see what it's about. And if I want to get into it, then it makes sense for me to go ahead and do a video. Thank you to Blake, who says, yo, ABL, check out the movie trailer called Boogie. Charles Turner Jr. says, a kid with a 0.13 GPA seems like he had no father in his life. Of course. Ain't no dad nowhere. It's just a mom. With 2 other kids she has, with no other dads around. The importance of both parents being there cannot be overstated. Also, a lot of young men with no father have issues with authority. Shout out to Norin for your donation. I appreciate you, boss. Shout out to Wolfgang, who says, why not gyms? They have many. Great thinking time. What do you mean as far as like schools and gyms? I think my point was we don't need more gyms. We got that all day long. All these black kids do a lot of times just play basketball and that's it. Like, I would say shut down some of these gyms and focus on your schoolwork rather than going to school and playing basketball and leaving. How about go to school, learn how to read? How about that? Shout out to Beth Speaks Truth, who says, a girl works for me, said she was allowed to graduate high school and she agreed with the lockdown. Wow. Like, what does that really mean? Agreeing with as far as vocally saying I agree with the lockdown and then she can graduate? That's crazy. Thank you to K-Biz, who says, great channel, just up today. I appreciate you. Thank you for that. Thank you to Maga Maniac for the critical hit emoji. Shout out to Tyrannius, who says, who books are these? That's how kids spoke at my high school. Amazing I graduated college. Oh, who books is these? That's how kids spoke at my college. Okay, I got you. Shout out to Laura Bulls for becoming an ABL supporter. Thank you to Darnell McGavick, who says, all lives matter. All were created in the image of God. Right on. Thank you to Hudson Jackson II, who says, it's still mind-boggling how some can flunk gym class like the one who went to that Baltimore high school and get a B in health ed. Yeah, see, he was not going to the one so-called gym class, but he went to the other one. That's all that happened. He just didn't go. For you to get that low of a grade in a gym class, you're just simply not attending. Thank you to Bearbait01. And you know what? To go back to that right quick. When I was a kid, you couldn't really cut school. Like, what I would do when I got to be like 16, 17, you know, like junior, senior year in high school, where I went to school at, it was like a little shopping center right across the street. So we go to Burger King and McDonald's, stuff like that during lunch. Rather than eating a school lunch, we bounce and go over there. But it was it was kind of a battle to get over there because we ain't want to get caught by the security guards and stuff like that. Like, you couldn't just leave school that way. It was not easy just to skip class. And you had some guys going to the mall and get caught by truancy officers. Because where we lived at, it was a shopping center and a mall. You can go right across the street and go there. You'd be right there in 5 minutes. But you couldn't do that. It was actual rules and security and people that cared. But here at this school, where's the rules at? Where's security at? Nowhere to be found. We got to get Joe Clark back, chain them doors up. But different story, I digress. Thank you to Bearbait for the donation. Thank you to Amy V, who says, did y'all see the play on the Geico commercial about Joe's Neanderthal comment? Look it up. Oh, I did see that. Yes, I did see that. Hold on one second. I'm going to pull it up right quick for you guys. I just passed that. Matter of fact, I was trying to find the other picture, and I found that one instead. Let me pull it up right quick. This was hilarious. And shout out to all you meme makers. You guys have been doing fantastic work. Excellent work. All right. So remember the old Geico commercials with the Neanderthals or the cavemen? You know, so easy a caveman can do it. So here's one they did with Joe's Neanderthal comments. Let me put it on the screen right quick. So for you guys that can't see it, you have the old Geico commercials with a caveman dressed kind of like a normal person. And he's like in the airport terminal riding on the flat, the walkway that moves. You know what I'm talking about. The flat escalator, if that makes any sense. So let's go ahead and play it. I was like, wait a minute, really? Offended. Hilarious. But yeah, that video right there, these memes are great. These memes are fantastic. Oh, so if you can't see it, what he did was he was on the walkway thing in the airport terminal, and he walked past a picture of Joe Biden with the seal right there in the lower left-hand corner, and it says, the last thing we need is Neanderthal thinking. And he doubles back and looks at it, and he's like, oh, really? He's like offended at it. You can see by his body language. Hilarious. These memes, I'm telling you, fantastic. All right. And then what else we got going on? Shout out to Logical Faith, who says, BLM's 2020 impact report, they report giving away 24% of the money they received. They gave money to 33 organizations, and 27 out of the 33 are focused on transgenderism or alphabet advocacy. Oh, of course, that makes sense. So rather than giving the money to where it's supposed to go, to Black lives, they're giving it to the LGBTQ, ABCDEFG, LMNOP, XYZ community. Got it. Thank you for that, man. I appreciate you for the insight. Thank you to Apple, who says, hold on. Apple says, ABL, you think white man can't jump will be banned? Nah, that'll be fine. Wolfgang says, I want to practice Chinese without getting canceled. Darnell says, Walmart, Santa Club, do mask, medical exception, not Costco. Amy says, I dug into Clifford Impact Network equals @blue, gun control. Their site with lots of stats tries to say California with an A for gun laws is 44th in gun deaths. And in my research, it is a cause of 20% of legal ownership in California. I got to check it out. Thank you for that. Thank you to Real Honest Abe, who says, Coming to America movie gets woke from the first 20 minutes. Oh, okay. All right. I see where we're going with that one. Thank you to Farringer Xbox, who says, I have the same medical degree as Bill Gates. Huss Jackson II says, only insurrections that took place on March 4th were on GTA Online. Big facts. Big time facts. Thank you to Black Rocker Conservative Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, who says, ABL, I want Trump back. Hashtag put Trump back in office. Hey, man, I'm right there with you, boss. Wolfgang says, yeah, I feel you on the gyms and schools. There is a way to use it academically for thinking time. As for a great reset, it's an elite stupidity. Shout out to Wolfgang, who says, more clubs, Sega-type arcades near schools, like Japan. Angel says, 0-point GPA while having virtually an encyclopedia deluxe in your hands 24/7 is totally irresponsible. I said, oh my goodness, yes. Hey, you got the phone, you can do whatever. You can find anything. You can have a janky Obama phone, whatever. You can find anything right here. I am old enough to have gone to the library and searched for a particular book to find the answer to one question. I don't know what's going on. I want to get, find something out. I go to the library and dig through a book to find it. Now, everything is right here. And you don't even got to know how to type. You can just, you can be blind. You can say, hey, XYZ service, search for this, and it'll read to you. You don't even got to do nothing. You don't even got to use your fingers. But rather than trying to find things on the internet that are productive and valuable, what does that boy do? Oh, he's a beast in Fortnite and 2K. One thing about that, to get back to that right quick before I move on and get to the calls, I did not notice that in that zero GPA video, there was B-roll of the kid in his room, and he was playing Xbox or PlayStation with a flat screen monitor on the wall, and he had a phone, checking the phone. So he's checking his phone, but it's like, what are you doing? You can't even read. Like, you have too much stuff to not know how to read. When I got an FMR report card, I had nothing in my room. Nothing. I had nothing, zero in my room. No, not even no books. I was like living in the penitentiary. You understand? He's living like a king. Flat screen, phone, all of that. But just playing the game, not even really caring about what his academics are like. But I'll move on. Shout out to Wolfgang, who says flat escalator, airport walkway, horizontal escalator. Thank you to Think I'm a George for becoming an ABL supporter. Shout out to John, who said, you're correct, ABL. A good meme speaks 1,000 words. Thank you to Yolanda for upgrading membership to ABL Squad. I appreciate you. Thank you to Wolfgang, who says Chinese language professor canceled for N-word. And thank you to Farringer Xbox, who says Trump wins Congress seat, becomes House leader, impeaches Kamala, and Nancy becomes president for 6 years. Wow, that'd be funny. But Nancy about 80 years old, so is she going to last? I mean, tick, 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 you know what I'm saying? But I digress. Let's get to the phone calls right quick. You know what the drill is. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. We're going to go ahead and get into it. If Skype wants to act right, that'd be fantastic. If not, then it's not my fault. You got to blame the white man. And let's go ahead and get her done. Okay, let's go back to where I was. That'd be great. And let's make sure that's working properly. Okay, that should be good. Try this one. Okay, cool. 528, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, hello, Mr. ABL. This is Ignacio from Mexico.
All righty, what's going on?
How are you? Good. How you been, sir? Great talking to you. Been a fan of you for a long time.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, going back to the thing with the school and everything, sir, you're right. When you get a bad grade back in the day, when you and I were young, you felt that bad grade. That's a fact. You felt it one way or another. And nowadays, yeah, you can go to jail. You spank your kid and scream loud at him and say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do." And everything is upside down right now. It's getting crazy, sir. I don't know why it's going that way. But hey, right now the only thing between chaos and normalcy is the parents. As you said it before, you have to be strong. You have to be a role model for your kids.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you, man. I agree.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. Everything is going crazy. You see it on the news. You see it in your local shows and everything. Hey, come on. Even in soccer, I live in Mexico. In soccer, the kids want to be normally the best player is the most ignorant one. They don't want to be the one, just like Hugo Sanchez in Mexico. He went to Spain in Real Madrid. He was there playing for a long time. He had a lot of awards. He is a dentist from the UNAM in Mexico City. And no, they don't want to be like that. They want to be like the most ignorant one. They didn't went to school. They can barely read and stuff like that. But they have the money and the women and all the stuff they want. And for me, that's wrong. And I blame the TV, the media, and everything on that side, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, you know, people just they focus on just the academics, the sports, and leave everything behind. They don't care about knowing how to read or anything. They just focus singularly. But it hurts them in the end because it's like, okay, if the academics aren't there, then what? You can't read. So what's going on?
Yeah, you break your leg or something like that, and your career is over, and you have nothing.
Right,
and
exactly.
You get a bad contract on that one. You didn't even read it because you barely read.
Exactly.
Yeah, the other thing I want to say, this is a joke that I made up, is nuke popcorn. There's going to be one sentence that Joe Biden is going to say when he wakes up one day. Let's go and nuke popcorn.
You say that one more time now?
Sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said.
No, okay, yeah. It was a joke about Joe Biden that one day he's going to wake up after his nap and he's going to say, nuke popcorn. Hope, pray to God that he doesn't do it.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully he just, stays away. They keep that away from him. It's okay.
Yeah. You're
going to be in the basement, no nuke buttons at all. Just hang out.
Yeah, that's the thing. Keep it away, the nuclear button away from him. Keep the codes, scrambling, or put them somewhere else. Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about you is the mask about the people in Texas. The governor, Greg Abbott, said no mask anymore. Well, actually, no. He didn't say any mask. He said no penalties about wearing a mask. And Biden called him a Neanderthal. What's with that? He called the whole people of Texas Neanderthals. What is wrong with this guy?
I mean, he's just crazy. He says pretty much whatever he wants. It doesn't really, he doesn't do any thinking. But, you know, he is a real old man. Dementia's kind of setting in, so there's no control over what he says. That's why he doesn't really talk that much. They keep him in the basement, and they take him out of the basement every now and again when they have to. But aside from that, leave him in the basement.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, pull him out. Just like, I don't know if you remember one time that Fidel Castro was still alive, and there were rumors that he died, and then he came out, and then had video of him. He was like a little toy soldier and things like that. Oh, my God. He looks like somebody who has some wires on him and moving like a puppet, just like Biden right now.
Yeah, pretty much a puppet, yep.
Just like Biden right now. And that's a shame, because if the United States go down, Mexico will turn into Venezuela. And you, my friends, are going to turn into Mexico. That's going to be an issue for everybody down here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you to be calling here. Remember, Nuke, popcorn.
All right, now, thank you.
Goodbye. God bless. Take care.
All right, shout out to the caller. International. Mexico, a little bit of everywhere. All right, let's get to the next one. 219, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Mark from Northwest Indiana.
All right, what's going on?
Not much. I was just catching towards the end of your show. So I know there's a lot to talk about regarding Joe Biden and the CCP and everything, and we could do that. But I thought I might lighten the mood a little, raise everybody's spirits with a little short story with a nice moral, if that's all right.
Go for it.
So I recently started working at a gun store, and the short version is I was working at the range counter. This is a gun store with a range, and this man comes in, and he's like a probably mid-20s, early 30s African-American man with dreadlocks, and he comes up to the counter, and I start checking him in. So I ask for his ID, and he's like, hang on, let me pull my pants up, So I was like, he hands me his ID, and I asked him if he had brought his own firearms and ammunition, or if he needed to rent some. He said he had his own. He showed me a gun that I actually had remembered selling him a couple days prior. And he was just generally this really nice guy. We checked him in, got him in the range, and he had no problems. He ended up leaving. A few days later, he comes in with his fiance, and they go to shoot together. And then I showed him like a membership we had at the range. So, but like when he first came in, it's one of those things where, if you just judge a book by its cover, you might start throwing up some red flags. He's got pants sagging. He's got like this, real deep Chicago accent, but he's a real nice guy, and we actually started building a rapport. So I guess the idea is the moral of the story is not to judge a book by its cover, because as a Second Amendment zealot myself, I'm happy to have another responsible legal firearm owner in the world, and I guess that sort of ties into wondering what's going to happen to the Second Amendment going forward, because a lot of states have back in the past, when governors were putting up executive orders or rushing through bills to try to ban certain types of guns, we had started having sanctuary cities for the Second Amendment, where sheriffs were saying they were going to arrest ATF officers if they tried to mess with the state's gun laws. So I wanted to know what you think of what you think would happen in the scenario where, say, Biden tries to pass like an assault weapons ban again, and suddenly 60% of Texans are felons overnight. Like, what do you think do you think the states would actually do anything in that scenario, or do you think they would just fold over?
I think that some states may do something because they want to do it anyway, and some states are not going to do it. Just like the whole thing with the mask mandate. There was a mask mandate in Tennessee, right? But what happened was the police chief where I live got on TV and said, we're not going to enforce that. So what are you really going to do? If they're not going to enforce it, now what you want to try to use the federal government, use the military to make us enforce it. So at that point, do states have any kind of autonomy? or are we just under the federal government and we don't have any the governor, the mayor, the senators mean nothing. So that'd be a problem. That'd be a big conflict between the federal government and the states for sure, because some states, I think probably a lot of states are not going to enforce it at all.
That's a fair point, but on the other hand, say you've got things like the mask, right? The federal government really just doesn't have the manpower to make every American wear a mask, right?
Right.
And when it came to states like Colorado and California legalizing cannabis for medical or recreational use, I mean, they didn't really enforce it in a direct way. But on the other hand, they did make it, so that like it would still be considered a federal crime. And, Form 4473 asks if you're using marijuana because it's still federally illegal. But on the other hand, when you figure we have a history of like the ATF busting people in states like Texas, West Virginia and stuff, raiding people's houses and arresting them because they owned an AR-15 and they also owned they owned an AR-15 and they also owned an AR-15 barrel that was too short for a rifle that they were going to build a pistol out of, and the ATF says that's constructive intent, and they go and arrest them. So there's precedent for the ATF going after people, regardless of whether the states will enforce it or not. This is the government already enforcing it themselves. Do you think that any states are going to actually step up to the feds and say, not only are we not going to enforce this, but if you try to enforce it, we're going to stop you?
That's a good question. I think that could happen. I think that very well could happen. And I think the bigger issue with that is if you have certain instances of, your barrel, you got the wrong barrel or whatever, and you get confronted by the ATF at your house in West Virginia or whatever the case may be, it's kind of like whack-a-mole. But when you're talking about a wide sweeping thing that affects millions of people, that's going to be a lot more difficult to be able to, you're going to have to hire a whole like army of people to deal with that from the federal government level. And that's not really a possible thing. The states are going to have to cooperate. And I don't think they're really going to cooperate. Some of them are, like Virginia, places like that. Unfortunately, they might cooperate in some parts of the state, but in other parts of the state, they're not going to. So I think not only will it be a conflict between certain states and the federal government, it'll also be a conflict in the state between some of the mayors of local areas and the state government and the federal government. So that'd be a problem. I think the chance for violence and stuff like that would be too great for them to try to do something like that. It'd be too much, too many people, and way too dangerous, in my opinion.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I guess there's a difference between one or two guys having illegal guns versus suddenly there's 80 million people with illegal guns and you got to try to go get them all.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Yeah, I just want to know what your thoughts might be on something like that. If a new assault weapons ban we're going to go through after so many tens of millions of people own like AR-15s and the like.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully, it doesn't get to the point where they go and do anything crazy, man. But thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'll let you go now. And I just want to say abolish the ATF. All gun laws are infringements, and have a nice night.
All right. Now, thank you. All right. Shout out to the caller. Yeah. I think that'd be a little bit too much. You're trying to enforce laws on, 100 million people, and the states aren't really budging. Local areas aren't really budging. And my thing is, hey, I lost all my guns in a tragic boating accident, so I don't know where they're at. So I can't even really help you. You come to my house, I don't know where they are. It was a boating accident, and I've lost them. 775, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, Tyler. What's up, man?
Everything's all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. I was just watching the show. You know what? I mean, what do I do? What do I do to get on or whatever? I wanted to talk to Abel or whatever.
You're live right now, boss. What's happening?
Oh, dude, what's up, dude? Dude, okay, so get this. Dude, this is the problem, dude, is that, dude, I feel like BLM took advantage of a lot of good-intentioned people, Dude, the problem is everybody's waiting for government to, like, help them. Everybody's waiting for a handout. The thing is, I think Republicans need to get together and, dude, BLM made $10 billion disappear. you know what? We can do better than that. Like, I think that we should organize a movement and like it based off charity. There wasn't always, government wasn't always there. Like, who was there is churches, community, like people to like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, you gotta keep going with your point there, boss.
Yeah. So like, I mean, what I'm saying is like, you know what? It's based off donations. We just got to make sure the money goes to the right places. You know what I mean? Dude, I'm tired of seeing billions of dollars, $400 billion going overseas, going who knows where. You know what I mean? Dude, we got people struggling in the U.S. If people really care, they do something about it, you know? So, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's all I got to say. Like, we need to make some kind of movement, charitable, organized charitably, and you know what? Get that money to the communities. And I don't know how to organize, but you know what? I guess that's all I got to say, man.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller. But yeah, I mean, we got charities out there. I think people should give to, you know, legitimate charities. Habitat for Humanity, super legit. Whenever I have furniture I want to throw away that's still in pretty good shape, I give it to them. Any kind of money, like Habitat for, like, it's a lot of good charities out there. Churches are always good to support. Food banks always good to support if you want to get a charity. And what I never ever do is give money on the street to some dude. Talking about some, yo, can I get a ride? You know, have you guys heard this new line out here? I hear this line all the time. Hey man, you know what? I ain't no bum or nothing like that, man, but I need a ride down the street, man. I gotta get my tools from my car. It's like, sir, come on, stop. Just stop. You're not getting in my car. You're not gonna put no blade out on me and try to rob me or carjack me or something crazy like that. Get away from me. How about that? I don't have no money. I don't got nothing for you. So yeah, I'm not giving you no money on the street, but I'll give to a charity. I get a charity all the time. Whenever I can. Goodwill, of course, is good for clothes and stuff. How about it? 310, you don't know who I'm speaking to. 310, hello? Yes.
ABL?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Joe. I'm calling from Southern California.
All righty, but I have a little bit of feedback in the background. Am I on speaker?
No.
Is my volume up? Or are you listening to the speakers in the background? I'm hearing feedback in the back.
No. Not that I know of. There's nothing going on here. Now, is it better?
Okay, I think that it might be. Well, it's still kind of not. I'm still hearing myself. What's happening?
Oh, I just wanted to make a comment on that Baltimore school business. After you reported on it, I got curious, so I went online and I was looking it up, some information up, and I came up with the listing of their schools. And they had the schools listed, and then they had the percentages for reading and math in all the different schools. And the elementary schools were terrible. It was like, everything was like in 12%, 15%, 17% in math and reading. So I don't even know how these kids are getting into high school.
I mean, it's crazy. It's like a racket, really.
I mean, I can't believe it. What in the world are they teaching those kids?
Nothing.
How could every elementary school in Baltimore have math and reading between like 10? Some of them even said less than 5%.
It's a daycare center. There's no education going on.
I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. They have. Why aren't the parents doing anything? You know. I don't know. Where I live, I have a granddaughter who's in high school, and even when she was in elementary school, their grades were posted online for the parents to see, and it was updated like 2 or 3 times a week by the teacher, so they could go on their phone anytime and check their grades. So that way you could keep up with what's happening with your child if you had any interest.
Right.
Not when they get to graduate and then you all of a sudden figure out that they don't, that they're failing everything. That's what I don't understand.
These parents don't care about their kids, that's all.
No, they don't. Unfortunately, that's the big problem right there. That's where it all starts at home. Okay, well, thanks for your time, ABL. Enjoy your show.
All right, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Sure. Bye-bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. But yeah, if you're calling in, please no speakerphone because I'm hearing the feedback and I don't know what was going on with her phone, but I was hearing myself and people can hear it on the show as well. So let's not do that. All right, the number to call 434-658-1220. The number is always in the description box below. If you want to get in through Skype, there's an email for that in the description box below as well. Let's go ahead and get to the next call. 503, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, thank you for taking my call, Anthony.
No problem. What's happening?
Oh, yes, sir. I think it was easier to get a hold of you than it was the Oregon Unemployment Department. But I'm really glad to be on the line with you tonight. I just wanted to call in representing Portland, Oregon. I think there's a lot going on in my state these days that people need to be aware of, especially with our governor, Kate Brown. I don't know if you noted today she went behind or she went over our legislative process to put an executive order in to put a tax on businesses, local businesses in Oregon for carbon tax in Oregon. And she's just completely, using this executive power to basically enact tyrannical rule in Oregon. And it makes me very upset being somebody that was born and raised in that state.
So what is she doing exactly?
So, well, besides the fact that we've been under a state of emergency for almost a year now, going back to last March with the whole coronavirus pandemic, and, she putting restrictions on local businesses, as far as who can be open, who can't, putting on mask mandates, which are completely ridiculous. I think I heard you earlier tonight talking about seeing a lot of memes and internet activity, people talking about how people are walking around by themselves with masks on. You see that all the time in Portland. It's literally insane. People walking around the street completely by themselves. I saw a man yesterday when I was walking my dog in the park. He had double masks on. Thankfully, I don't get harassed very often, just walking around the streets without a mask, but I definitely get harassed in businesses. I've been living in this town my whole life, and I can't even go into the grocery store, sir, and buy groceries. I go up and tell people that I can't wear a mask, and people just trip on you. I was even at a store the other day where they have the store set up with windows where you can walk up outside and do your interaction with them through a window, kind of like what you're talking about with going up to a drive-through. And then the gentleman saying, "Can I hand you a mask before I hand you your food?"
So wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Let's pause. So the setup is outside, and there's like a glass or some kind of barrier in between you two.
Yes.
And even still, you got to wear a mask in that situation.
Well, actually, in that one business, I go there specifically because they have it set up like an outside kind of drive-through thing. And I've been going there because they don't harass me about wearing a mask. But this one young guy the other day gave me some problems. He took my ID. We went through the whole thing, and he was about to finish the transaction with me and then said, "I need to put a mask on." I go, "Oh, sir, I can't put a mask on." And he goes, "Well, I'm not gonna do this transaction." Handed me back my money, and then so I go, "Okay, I'm just gonna go over to the window right next to this guy because there was two windows in the parking lot for business." So I go to the next window, and it was an older lady. She was about my age. I was born in the '80s. I'm probably similar age to you, sir.
Yeah.
But as soon as it was my turn, the young guy signaled to her to switch when it was my turn to walk up.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden I was in front of him again, and there wasn't nothing I could do, right? They just didn't want to. And it's crazy to me, honestly, because I was born in the '80s. I went to public school in Portland. I was actually part of a magnet program that took me in a bus from a white neighborhood that went over to Northeast Portland, to a school that was in a black neighborhood, and it was kind of like a diversity program. They wanted to make this elementary school diverse, right, back in the '80s. And so I remember going there and going into elementary school programs with a bunch of kids, all different kinds of kids. It was nothing to us. And we learned about Martin Luther King and and the content of people's character. And, you know, I've always been a strong believer in that, and a person that was against the idea of racism, or against the ideology of racism, which, you know, I never really noticed or saw in my lifetime, or in my interactions with people going through Northeast Portland or North Portland. But you know, when I see, the only time actually I was ever questioned about race and my, you know, me being a white male, was actually when I was going to the state college, Portland State University, for a mathematics degree. So I was lucky enough to be, well, going to school was a whole different issue. I really regret doing that. I got into school in 2008 after the recession, the crash of, you know, the recession, the bubble, the busting of the market, the housing market. But I went, and unfortunately I could not find work that summer, and decided to go to a community college and take out loans and try to get an education. I was young, in my 20s, mid to late 20s, thinking that was what was up for me. And luckily, I was able to stay out of most of the classes that were like, you know, the social sciences, but there were some classes that were required for us to take that, you know, definitely I noticed were critical race theory. There was a day where we're brought into a classroom. It was a Native American history or Native American studies, and the reason I signed up for this class was because it was required. It was a component of the degree. You had to take a class in these liberal sciences, at least one. So that was mine, and I took this class because I wanted to be a teacher, and there was an opportunity to go to a local school in town and volunteer time. So that was the cool thing about the class to me. But there was this one day where they brought us in, and it was one of the very few classroom days in that, or times where we met in the classroom as a class. And I swear there was kids I swear they could have easily not been enrolled in the class. They were just brought in for that day. But they sat us down, and they told me that I was privileged because of the color of my skin, and that, you know, I needed to basically be remorseful or understand people that came from a different background than me, their struggles. And I remember that just sat with me really weird that day, and I kind of fought back. I mean, this is 2012.
I'm sorry, but you gotta kind of wrap it right quick. So I gotta get to some more calls. So go ahead.
But man,
yeah,
I'm gonna call back because we got to talk about Kate Brown and the crazy stuff that she's doing. And thank you for taking the time to listen to me. God bless you and your audience, and thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay, bye-bye.
So yeah, like I said, critical race theory, that's a real thing. That's, you know, that's all over the place from when I've been able to gather. All right, let's get to some more here. Let me go back to where I was. Let's go. 405, you're online. I'm speaking to.
Hey, ABL, thanks for taking my call. I need you to have everybody to just stop.
You there? All right. I don't know what happened. I can't push the buttons. I don't know what. It might have just been a mistake. She might have dropped the phone or something. So it's not my fault. I didn't do it. Let's get to some more. All right. Let's do 270. You're in the line. I'm speaking to you. Okay. I don't know what's going on with people's phones. You gotta get it together. If you got an Obama phone, put some minutes on it, charge it up. Let's get it rocking and rolling. Get your phone juiced up, ready to roll. 61, you're on the line. I'm speaking to.
Hi, is this ABL?
Yes, it is.
Hey, this is Ann Smith from New York. I'm watching your show, and it's very interesting because I have two cousins that work in very bad neighborhoods, and like in high schools. It's mainly black, all black, and they tell me straight out that they're just high-priced babysitters. And my male cousin said, you know, he has to call the police every day for assault because somebody will hit him, tell him to get out.
Oh yeah, you know what? I've seen that. Like, I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I'll let you get back. So when I was in middle school, I've been to a few different schools. I went three elementary schools, 2 middle schools, 2 high schools. So I kind of moved around a little bit. But in my 6th grade, I left and went to a different school for 7th grade. So when I got to this school, it was much more ghetto than where I came from. Where I came from was all right.
It was
it was a ghetto school, and I remember seeing a teacher with like a splint on his nose because a student, a sixth grader, had put a padlock on his knuckle and punched him in the face and broke his nose.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a mess.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I said, how do you work like that?
You can't.
People hitting you every day?
And you know what? That school was not really good. I thought it was going to be good because it was like a magnet school.
They did push the kids through, though. They
Yeah.
pushed them through to make it look like a better school district.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just ignorance. It's pure. You're graduating ignorant people. And the other thing I want to ask you about, in New York, my son was murdered by a drunk driver, right? And the guy is crazy. He called me twice and said he was coming to get me. He knows where I live now because I moved. And I called his parole officer, and she came to where I live, and she said, do you own a gun? I said, what? Why are you asking me that question? You should ask him that question. I'm not calling people threatening them. So in the state of New York now, if he breaks and enters into my apartment and murders me, and I try to use a gun on him, I get arrested.
Wow. That's crazy.
What is that? I'm like sick of this. I'm sick of the United States already. New York is crazy. I just don't know what the heck they're doing, closing all the jails permanently. And can you answer me a question? I know you probably can because nobody else can't. My dog recently, she was a service dog. She got pyometria and died. That's just like a spay in 10 minutes, $2,200. So you're not allowed to go in the veterinarian office. What is that? You can't contract the virus from an animal, and the animal can't contract it from a human. So I just don't understand that. I go in the grocery store, it's jam-packed, everybody's breaking the law, not being 6 feet apart, and everybody's on top of each other, and you're wearing these stupid masks that do nothing. I just don't understand the laws here anymore. I just don't even want to live in this country anymore. I feel like moving to Canada or somewhere, someplace that's clean and nice and not crazy. I mean, look at Cuomo. I honestly don't think that he sexually harassed anybody. I think that's a diversion. I think he hit on women, of course, because he has the power. That's my opinion, because I've worked for 42 years. And I always got hit on by a boss. Always. But if I said no, they walked away. Right. That's not harassment to me. So I think that's a diversion that Nancy Pelosi put these women out there. And he is in a lot of trouble with the murders.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the actual issue right there, huh?
That's it. And that really aggravates the hell out of me because they always use women, and these stupid women come out. No, if you don't come out when it happens, then it didn't happen, in my case. And, although with Clinton, the girl saved the dress with the semen on it.
She did.
So she had evidence. But, I mean, she was an adult, too. She went along with it. I mean, unless he forcibly did something, I just don't, the place is a mess. I'm not kidding. I think the whole country is crazy.
Yeah, it's a whole lot going on. But I thank you for your call. I definitely appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Anthony. I love you. I love your show. You do so much. I watch you every night. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's get to the next one. Let's go. All right, I had one call I wanted to get. Let me get to some more here. Let's do. All right, call it 270. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
I love you. I love you.
Hey, Anthony.
What's going on?
Hey, this guy had to meet you in the background. This is Adam from Lexington, Kentucky.
All righty, what's happening?
Oh, enjoying your stream tonight. Just listening there, I feel like you've had a few bad phone calls. I wouldn't say bad, but not the best. But I was actually going to ask, what do you think about? I feel like politicians are passing a lot of bills with a lot of hidden money in it. Do you think that they're potentially pocketing this money?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is what they do. They get money. Well, I got to back up a little bit. It's not necessarily them pocketing the money directly, but it's kind of the indirect thing. A lot of what's happening in this bill is payoffs to those that got them elected. You know, a little bit of quid pro quo going on. Okay, this particular company over here gave me X amount of dollars to my campaign, so I'm going to repay them in kind, give them a favorable law, give them a green energy law or something like that. I'm going to just pay them back that way. Okay, and then I get all kind of campaign money to my campaign, and I funnel it through a consulting company. Ilhan Omar is a prime example. Ilhan Omar was married to a few guys at this point. This is husband number 3. This guy was just a campaign person. Tim Mynett, the white man. Now, she divorced from a real husband who she got kids and everything with, been with for like 20 years. She divorced him to get with this guy. Now, I think they said 70% of her campaign money goes to this one guy and this consulting company. So if they're married, they live in the same house, and she's giving him 70% of the money, where's the money going? Right back to her. So it's a lot of stuff like that happening all over DC. It's right into the core. So from the bill, they're paying off the people that got them in there, the big companies. And then through their campaigning, they're paying themselves and from the government as well.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree. And also one thing that I don't hear talked about a lot, do you believe in, I don't think it should be legal for companies to be able to lobby politicians because, you know, you could sway that politician's opinion so much. So I feel like lobbying is almost like a legal form of robbery.
Well, it kind of depends on what you mean. Like, it's one thing. I think it should be okay to lobby because you could be a regular citizen and lobby on a low level. Like if I am calling representative all the time and I'm trying to get a hold of them, or I'm out there in DC every day just as a citizen trying to talk to people and getting my particular issue of my state or my city addressed, then that could be considered lobbying. The issue with lobbyists is that they're heavily funded and that's what they do for a living. Okay, they're paid to do that. So it's like, how are they different than just a regular person? And how would somebody know that I'm not being paid to do what I'm doing? So it's kind of hard. I think the main thing would be you have to just crack down on the power that the politicians have. They do so much, and it's hard to check them creating laws that'll benefit companies and stuff like that. You got to get down to the core of what's happening. I think there should be more transparency. If you were given money by a particular company and you pass a law, that should be kind of highlighted. So that might be a private industry thing that we do to highlight that type of stuff. So they can't just do it under the radar without anybody really knowing anything about it.
Okay. Yeah. And then one last thing, this could be a conspiracy theory to me. But I will say, what is with, for instance, Kamala Harris's niece with the children's book, and then you take, you know, there's a lot of politicians in the past that their children have written children's books, and that's something I think that should be looked into. Mainly, that could be a conspiracy theory, but that's something that Chelsea Clinton was who I was thinking of. So, yeah, maybe something you can look up on and do a video on one day.
Oh yeah, I'll look into it for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, the relationship between those and in children's books. And thanks for taking the call. And shout out to Lexington, Kentucky.
I thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. Shout out to them.
All right.
All right.
See you.
All right. Shout out Kentucky. Big up to Lexington. Let's get to some more here. Let's go to, let me try 573. 573, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
It's Tyler, your old friend from Missouri. How's it going, ABL?
Everything's all right. How about yourself?
Oh, great. I just want to say again, too, you're doing Rush Limbaugh proud every day. It's been kind of hard getting past Rush not being here, but you're doing a bang-up job as usual, and I know you're doing him proud. I kind of wanted to comment on something. I don't know if you spoke about it earlier tonight, but it's been in the news recently, and it seems like a nothing burger to some people, but it's a little Seuss issue, and even the icing on the cake was eBay apparently going to delist sales of those 6 so-called controversial books. You know, some people say, well, that doesn't really rock my boat. That doesn't affect my world. But you know, where does it stop? I mean, we had the one book that has the top not Asian, the older Asian garb where he's got the bowl of rice and the chopsticks and all that. And I get it to some extent. But on the other hand, you know, there's old World War II era comic books where you've got Captain America punching Nazis and maybe even Japanese characters with more of that kind of buck-tooth sort of depiction. I mean, the sky's the limit on where they could go with this. What if they decide it's Civil War history books or books about Columbus next? Do you have any thoughts on how we can maybe effectively try to figuratively fight this issue? Because we really can't take something like this for granted, because they can just keep digitally burning books like people did in yesteryear.
I mean, that's a really good question. I'm not really sure what the solution would be to prevent all of this. The best I could do is to get the word out there so we all know how ridiculous it is. And I think that you're seeing record levels of sales and whatnot for these books. And, you know, one thing that it's doing by getting the word out there, regular people that aren't really involved with politics, that don't know a lot about what's happening, they're seeing this and saying, okay, this is crazy. People that normally wouldn't be on the same page with me as a conservative are now on the same page. And, okay, Dr. Seuss and Pepe Le Pew and just kids' cartoons, are canceling those. But yet, you know, you have these children's books talking about, oh, you can become a transgender at 2 years old. You can say, matter of fact, Michelle Obama did an interview today with Dwayne Wade's son, daughter, whatever their pronoun is, that's transgender, right? This kid is like 12 years old and announced at 11 or 12 years old that they want to be transgender. But he said when he was 3 years old, he knew that he wanted to be transgender. So when that kind of thing is going on, and people see that, you're like, okay, I don't like this. So you're able to get more support against this kind of behavior. And the more support you get, the better you'll be able to try and stop it. That's probably the best way that I know how to do with it.
Yeah, and, you know, even Rush Limbaugh, you know, kind of going back to him, I remember for years, because I've been listening to him since 1994, he would say even back in the day, you know, we kind of laughed. And I'm not just trying to put this on the wacko left, because we had people, and I'm not trying to be mean toward some of maybe the religious folks back in the 80s and 70s and 60s that feared Ouija boards and Dungeons and Dragons games or He-Man cartoons, or Elvis Presley shaking his hips to Hound Dog kind of caused a little bit of a stir back in the Ed Sullivan years. I you know, all that kind of stuff happened too. Or Tipper Gore in the late 80s when her husband and other congresspersons were asking questions of John Denver, Frank Zappa, and Dee Snider of Twisted Sister about filthy lyrics. And I remember how people always kind of despise that kind of nonsensical kind of small potatoes, worrying about things that just for nonsense. But now the left has kind of become that. But Limbaugh said, getting back to point about some of the leftist wacko side of the, and I'm talking the real wingnuts, not the good liberals out there that we can all get along with, just like they can get along with us, hopefully. But, you know, it's just, he said, we've laughed at him for too many years, whether it was some of the environmental wacko kind of nonsense and things they would say maybe even back in the 80s or 90s, and we just kind of say, oh, that can't take off, that can't get off the ground, that'll never go anywhere, ha, 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 it's kind of funny. But now we've kind of just let it go, and then it's Aunt Jemima, it's Uncle Ben's, it's Eskimo. And I know these things seem small, but it's just this recent Seuss thing and other things that we see going on online, and especially with, and I know with you being a content creator, let's talk about Section 230. We don't need to repeal 230. Sticks, Hex, and Hammer, various other people out there, some of your peers, I guess you could say, they have said, let's reform it. Even Tulsi Gabbard, and I'm not a fan of her. She's anti-gun, but she does get it right on 230. It needs to be reformed so we can get these platforms to stop being publishers or editorial types. And we've really got to do something. But like you said, there's just no easy answer to it.
That's right. I agree with you 100%.
ABL, have a good night. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. All right. Great call. Excellent call. And I want to show you guys Dwayne Wade's son, daughter, Sauter. I'm not really sure what to call it. Or them, or Zim, Zir. I don't know what the pronouns are. I ain't trying to get canceled. So now Michelle Obama did an interview with this person, and that's them right there. Now, my whole thing is leave the kids alone. If you want to be an adult and do this, that's fine. Like I said on Jubilee, I'm like, okay, we're going to have 12-year-old kids talking about the transgender and then actually do that. And then my question would be, what makes you transgender? They're talking about puberty blockers or hormone blockers for a child. A child. This is too much because kids go through phases when they're kids, right? When I was a kid, I thought I was an Ninja Turtle, an X-Man. I thought I was a little bit of everything. I thought I was going to be a scientist. I thought I was all of that. But maybe my mom would not take me to the doctor and give me green skin injections or put a turtle shell on my back surgically, or, you know, put this bandana right here permanently, or I'm just, you know, maybe that wouldn't happen. All right. Maybe I wouldn't get the shell right there put on my, maybe I wouldn't do that. When kids say certain things, you can't take it seriously all the time. Sometimes you're just having fun and having an imagination. And a lot of times they grow out of it. I did not want to be a turtle for my whole life. When I got to be like 6 rather than 5, I didn't want to be a turtle anymore because I was a kid and I was growing up. So if you want to do that, if you're an adult and you want to do something like that, go for it. You do whatever you want to do. You can call yourself whatever kind of name you want. You can put all kind of piercings in your head, your elbow, your foot. That's your business, man. You're an adult. As long as you ain't doing nothing illegal, go for it. Knock yourself out. But kids, leave them kids alone. All right? And you know the rest. But let me get to the rest of the calls. And the number to call, 434-658-1220. If you're listening to this on your favorite audio streaming platform, please give me a 5-star rating. I most certainly appreciate it. 228 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, this is Valerie from Mississippi. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm okay. Listen, what I called to say is I believe today, and I have always believed for the last couple of years, that I believe the left is trying to start a civil war. They already know, and every country that's against us knows that they have no chance against us militarily. They can't destroy us like China or North Korea or South Korea. They can't come at us militarily. We would kick their ass. We beat them. But that's why they're doing all this stuff. They're trying to bring us down from the inside, from fifth column sort of like, you know. They want us to bring ourselves down. They're trying to destroy all our history. And our history is our history, and some of it is not nice, and some of it is awful. But a lot of it is good, but it's still history. It's still factual. You know, they want to destroy our history so we don't know where we come from, what we've been through as a country. That's what they want to do. And because they know they can't beat us any other way. And that's my belief. And it always has been.
Makes sense to me, 100%.
Yeah, that's what I think. You know, there's a fifth column in our country, you know. That's what they want to do, you know. And our kids should be taught our history, even the bad part, because we do have some bad parts. But as far as slavery, we're not the only country in the world. Hell, slavery is as old as the pyramids. The Hebrews were slaves. right now today in a lot of Muslim countries, slavery still exists. They have sex slaves, you know, and but we had a bad part of our history, but we have good parts too. But it should all be taught so they can learn from the bad parts and be proud of the good parts.
That's right.
You know, and that's all I got for you.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay, bye-bye.
That's right on point. You know, leave the bad parts in the past, but take the good. Don't just, throw everything away. Baby out with the bathwater. Don't do that. Keep all the good stuff and bring it forth. People want to cancel the whole thing because, a part of it is outdated or bad or whatever the case may be. Now I'm on you on the line. Who am I speaking to? Thank you for the call. 910, hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Hey, how's it going?
Going all right. About yourself?
I just had to shut down my thing so it. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. Can't complain. About yourself?
I'm doing fine. The big thing is about the history, about all of it, is we all got to work together. And the big thing about America is you're not a Black American, you're an American. You're not an Italian American, you're an American. You're not a Jewish American, you're an American. And we got to cut all this stuff out.
I mean, we should be able just to talk about being an American, have that be what it is. But that's just not where we are, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's going crazy. ABL, appreciate you getting my call tonight and all the other people out there. But we all got to start working together. Like a few calls ago, I heard a guy, we have to work together as Americans, as Christian Americans, as conservative Americans, but not red, white, blue, black, green, purple Americans. We need to work together as Americans. And I think that's what Donald Trump brought to the American empire.
I agree with you. I think you're right about that.
Yeah, it's that simple. When I go see some, I have been all my life, I never looked at color. I was a paramedic on an ambulance, and I delivered a girl having a baby, and the grandmother was 27 years old.
Wow! Oh my God!
I'm in the ambulance with a lady. Her daughter's having a baby. Her mother is back at home. She's 27 years old. Just process that. We got to love each other. I didn't judge them people. I helped them out the best I could. That was my job. But, that's the way things work.
Yeah, that's right.
But I mean, like I said, a grandmother at 27 years old, I wasn't a grandfather until I was 50.
Right.
I mean, process that. 23 years later, I'm a grandfather, but I'm delivering a baby, and the grandmother is 27.
It's hard to really fathom,
Yeah, but I mean, I helped the people out. I didn't judge them. I mean, that was the thing, It was like the cops, like the firemen. You don't know whose house you're going to stop the fire, defend the crime. You don't know whether it's a black family, a white family. You don't know that. You just go and help. And that's why I think the American fabric has lost, the gel that gets us all together.
Right. I'm with you on that. Well, thank you for your call. I definitely appreciate you.
Okay. I know you got to go, and you have some great callers tonight. I'm glad to be a fan, and I've been listening for years now. Everybody else out there, we love y'all. Love ABL, and good night.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All righty. Wow, 27. I'm sitting here doing the math. I'm like, okay, you're talking about babies having babies. So I'm thinking, like, if it's even, when the grandma had the baby at 13, and then her child had a baby at 13, right around that. If it's evenly distributed, it could have been earlier. I've seen girls 11 years old be pregnant when I was in school. I saw girls I saw girls when I was in school in 9th grade with a whole toddler. 9th grade with a toddler. I've seen that. It's crazy. All right, let's get to the next one. 786 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Yo, it's Kendrick Silverman. How you doing?
Everything's all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Quick question. Right now, I was just doing helping one of my parents to take citizen test, and I saw a question that said that if the president gets impeached, right, and the vice president.
It's kind of hard to hear you. Like, am I on speaker?
Oh, no, you're not on speaker. Can you hear me now?
Okay, just talk closer to the microphone if you can.
Okay, my bad. So anyways, I was helping one of my parents take a citizen test, and it said that if the president and the vice president both get impeached or retired or get out of office, the Speaker of the House becomes the president. However, I don't know if Biden gets impeached, does that mean that Nancy Pelosi becomes vice and Speaker?
Nah, like she would so if Biden gets impeached, then Kamala Harris take over as president, and then she may be able to appoint a vice president. I don't think it would work like that's actually a pretty good question. I think what would happen is either there wouldn't be a vice president or she could appoint one. I don't think Nancy Pelosi would become the vice president. I think the chat would know better than I do, but I really don't know the answer to that. But I don't think that she would become the vice president.
Yeah, man, because it's a scary thought of, having Kamala as president and Nancy as vice.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really what would happen, but that's a scary thought.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was just thinking that, and I was thinking about your thoughts, because I've been looking, and there's a chance that she might automatically become president if both vice and president got out of office. But I don't know how it would work if Biden did get impeached, and what would happen if Kamala could choose the vice, or does Nancy become automatically vice? That was the question I was looking for.
That's a good question, but I think that Kamala would nominate a vice president in that case, and Nancy will remain the speaker.
Yeah, true, probably. Anyways, yeah, man, I just needed that to be answered, because I was thinking about that all the time when I was talking to citizenship. I was thinking, if Biden did get impeached and they actually have Nancy as vice and Kamala as president, that would be just the most serious thing ever done, or at least to me.
Yeah, it'd be crazy, for sure.
Anyway, man, thanks.
All right, thank you for the call. All righty. Yeah, that'd be a crazy scenario. It really would. But hopefully that's not what ends up happening. 608, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL.
This is me.
This is D-Lo from Wisconsin.
All righty. What's happening?
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain about yourself.
All right. Thank you for taking my call.
All right, no problem.
I'm probably going to run through this fast so you can get to the next call. All right?
Okay.
Black Lives Matter. When I was a child, I sung Jesus Loves the Little Children, all the children of the world, red, yellow, black, and white. And I had a great big smile on my face. And I believed it with all my heart. My husband and I, we were married by Jamaicans. My first child was a black child, mixed. And we've had 20 kings. Only 5 kings were righteous. I am a special needs school bus driver. At first, I did the mask. Only when they get on the bus, get off the bus. I've elected not to do it anymore. And I govern myself. I don't go into all this stuff. I love Trump. Biden, I don't want to get there. Okay. And so I just, today tap my trees. I raise my animals. I know thyself, and I pray, and we are not to fear anyone, but only what God can do to our body and soul, not man.
Alrighty.
And that's, I feel that if we do that and not get into all this other things that wants us to get off on the other side to cause division, I think we will do a lot better and stay out of the noise.
Definitely. I agree with you.
And I think we'll be a lot happier because you got to pay your taxes and you're going to be buried 6 feet under the ground someday. And no one can actually tell us what we can and can't do.
Right.
Even though they try to. So, all right.
Alrighty.
Have a good night.
All right. Thank you for your call.
Love
Definitely.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Alrighty. Shout out to y'all for calling. You guys are great. Number to call 434-658-1220 is always right there in the ticker. Perfect timing. Oh, it went away now, but it's always also in the top line of the description box below. There's also an email for Skype. Call it on up. Don't be afraid. It's all good. 732, you're in the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. My name is Marcus. I'm from New Jersey.
Alrighty. What's happening?
How you doing tonight?
Everything's all right, man. What's happening?
That's good to hear. So I just wanted to tell you, I came across this article. New Jersey school district first to make African American studies a graduate requirement.
Whoa.
Can you tell me your thoughts about that?
Whoa. And you know what? The crazy part is this. Okay, African American studies. Who's teaching it and what are they going to teach you? Are we going to learn about Wakanda forever? Like, what's really happening? And why? Like, that's part of the reason. Even back when I was in college, back in like 06, like between like 02 and 06, when I was going, that's part of the reason why I kind of got like disillusioned, because it's like, all right, you guys are scamming all these dumb classes I don't need. It was dumb back then. It's gotten even dumber now, and they charging more and more money. It's gotten to the point where it's ridiculous. So if that is going on, I'm leaving Jersey. If I live there now, I'm going somewhere else. Or I'm going to go to a trade school. I'm going to just teach myself. I'm going to go to Khan Academy somewhere. I'm going to go to YouTube and learn how to do something. I'm not going to waste my money with this woke stuff. If I'm going to college, I want to be able to get training for a particular skill to go out there and make money, period. I'm not going for the experience or to find myself. I could do that on my own time. I don't got to pay nobody to do that. If I got to take these woke classes, I'm just not going to do it, period.
Exactly. Get this. It's starting in high school. So they're starting this in high school, and it's in a predominantly white area, 85% white, only 4% African-American or black.
So it's like, what do we even, and you know what? It's like, okay, what are they going to teach that you're not getting taught about? I mean, you're learning about slavery, MLK. Okay. Now, I mean, what else? Like, what are we really talking about? Like, are they going to talk about some just like philosophy? I don't even. What I want to see is a curriculum. Like what's the game plan? Like, what are they going to be taught? That's my question.
Yeah, I would like to know the same. I mean, I was reading through the article, and it said that the school serves more than 10,000 students. Not the school district serves more than 10,000 students. And I mean, they said this is in light of George Floyd.
I mean, what's George Floyd got to do with? So, okay, we're going to teach Black studies because George Floyd. What does that got to do with anybody? I mean, okay, like that'd be, you know what? That'd be good to bring back DARE. You know, don't do drugs. I mean, that'd be good for that, but not for no Black history or Black studies.
Man, I don't even know what to tell you. It seems like New Jersey, especially because I'm in a liberal state, it seems like it's getting worse and worse. Like they just legalized marijuana last week or the week before.
Yeah, it's getting it's pretty liberal because, like I said before, okay, they legalize weed and they say, oh, it's okay, it's all good, but then that's not where they're going to end. They never end. There's always the next progression. Okay, and then you see a headline from New York Post. Professor snorts heroin for work-life balance. Okay, that's next. Snorting heroin. That'll be totally fine.
I mean, it's already legal in some states, right?
Yeah, it's already legal. It's already legal. You go to like left coast, Seattle, you can pretty much shoot heroin, whatever you want. So if you got a professor, so it's like, okay, if my professor is teaching me Black studies and he's shooting heroin, I might not want to go there. I might do something else, maybe, just maybe.
But then you might have some students who might do it with the professor anyway.
That's crazy. You paying $80,000 a year to be a junkie. That's wild. Super wild.
Yeah, man. I don't even know what this world is coming to. Like every single day, it's a new thing. Like, you know, one moment is Dr. Seuss, then it's the whole thing with Mr. Potato Head. I'm like, okay, well, what's going to be next?
Right.
You know, it just seems like it's just getting crazy every single day.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But I thank you for taking my call. I know you got a bunch of callers tonight.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it.
All right. Take care, brother.
Shout out to the caller. Great call. Yeah, Jersey's definitely getting woke. I want to know what the curriculum is. All right. Give me the curriculum. Give me the whole syllabus, the whole situation. I want to examine this and see what they're going to be talking about. If I see anything about Black Panther, Wakanda, or anything of the sort, then I already know what time it is. I don't think I read no more. If I read the syllabus and it says Wakanda, all right, I'm out. That's pretty much what I got to say. Somebody said they called in after having a few beers, but they weren't drunk. But you know what? When you're drinking, you don't know how you sound. You may sound perfect, like singing in the shower. You think you sound like Whitney Houston, but you sound like you sound like a dead cat just getting filleted like a fish. You understand what I'm saying? But I digress. 352, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
I could have it if you can. But hello?
Yes, who am I speaking to?
My name is Earl in Florida.
All right, man. What's going on?
Oh, not much. Just calling in to say we love you down here in Florida, ABL. You just keep doing your thing, bro. Heck yeah, man.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
All right, God bless.
All right, now. So shout out to Earl down there in Florida. Shout out to everybody in Florida. And shout out to your governor, Ron DeSantis, opening up, doing the right thing, making it happen, crushing them numbers, them virus numbers. Yeah, I read your chat, man. I read all the chats. Yeah, you calling in here drunk, man. You thinking you sound like, you know what I'm saying, James Earl Jones. You sound like the complete opposite. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's go. Okay, hold on. 701, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hello, ABL. This is Amy V. How are you this evening?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I am well. Thank you for asking. So, wondering if we can chat about gun control briefly.
All right, let's do it.
I posted earlier about that Gifford So that would be as in Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords.
Yeah.
So this is where, like, in my mind, I think, idea, you and Officer Tatum need to do like a thing together and talk about this, because Arizona, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But so she has this Giffords Foundation, and they are super, super anti-gun, super woke, everything, right? And they have launched the Giffords Impact Network, which now has these founding partners: Dick's, Tom's, Kenneth Cole, Levi Strauss, Lyft, Northwell Health, Postmates. All these people are saying that they're anti-gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to their website, it's just insane to think that California has the best gun laws and we should all have gun laws like California, don't you think?
Yeah, that's crazy. Absolutely.
Especially with the gun violence and everything. But one thing I really love about this page is how, this is a quote, I'm actually reading it off of the page. To truly build a safer country for all Americans, Congress and the new administration must take decisive action to stop gun violence and address the deadly racial disparities exhibited by the pandemic, police brutality, and community violence.
Whoa.
Do you have any thoughts on that statement?
That's a lot going on there. I mean, okay. So they're trying to say the whole person of color, the whole racial thing as like a reason to have gun control. I mean, that's so silly because, you know, you got criminals out there that should not have guns. They're the ones doing the actual harm. That's, you're not, you know, guys that I know guys out there. I can call guys right now and say, hey, come on and do it, and they'll do it. I know guys out there.
Yep.
They're not going to Bob's gun store and saying, hey, can I purchase a gun, please? Thank you. Here's my ID. I appreciate it. Take it. They're not doing that. They're getting their guns.
Oh, totally. And that's why I said in the post about how California has an A for gun laws, but they're 44th, like they're worst for gun violence. But then you do your own research and you realize that California, only 20% of its population is a legal gun owner.
Right.
So are those the people that are committing all those crimes? Like, why are we going after you and me? Like, I learned from a young age to respect the gun. I come from a hunting family. I come from everything, but I also agree with your other statement. Like, there's a lot of places to hide bodies in Minnesota. There's a lot of open land. So, I mean, I don't know. But back to that statement that they said. So they're kind of saying that, you know, because of gun violence, we're having racial disparities because of the pandemic. Like, what?
It makes no sense.
How does that?
That statement makes no sense. It's just a bunch of words, solid put together. And when somebody's reading it, if they want to be, you know, like a bleeding heart liberal type, they'll buy into it. Oh, you know, person of color, pandemic, violence, disparity. They put it all together, and in their mind, it just registers to say, hey, I know what? I need to be in favor of gun control because of all these things. It's like the movie Idiocracy. And they're talking about electrolytes in the water. It's like, well, it has electrolytes. That's why it's good. But when you ask them, well, what are electrolytes? They don't even know. It's the same thing with these liberals talking about disparities, all that kind of stuff. It's buzzwords that sound good to them, but they have no meaning.
Oh, totally. And you go on this site, and I really encourage everybody to check it out. But everything is buzzwords that are highlighted, and everything is in red and in certain blues. And like, there's do your own research, people. There's a reason why McDonald's has yellow and red. Like, it psychologically triggers something with the colors. But this page, it's doing it too. And I mean, they have, I think I might have emailed it to you, but they have this one like printout, and it says gun violence and gun control and COVID.
So gun violence and the virus are linked together. Is that so when I fire a gun, does it spread particles into somebody, then they get sick that way? Is that how it goes?
100%. And also, while you're scrolling through and you see this gun control / COVID, you also see this put together makeshift graph that has this line that shows, you know, all the black people that are dying from guns and COVID, and then in the middle, a little bit of Latinos, and then way at the bottom, white people. Like, okay, I can debunk that in a second by just looking at the census website. You know, that's your numbers aren't even correct. But there's just so much going on with that. And the icing on this cake is when you go to donate and you look at who you're donating through, and it says Act Blue.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've went down that rabbit hole before. We know all the different things it's linked to. And that also, like, subtopics that I'll very briefly talk about. Look at all the different, CNN, MSNBC, all those different whatnots. They're talking about all this violence that's happening on Asian people, on how all these Asian people are hate crimes, all these, it's those white supremacists, it's those Trump supporting China virus white supremacists that are attacking these Asian people. Have you, dug into that at all? Because I don't recognize a single one of them as being a white supremacist when the majority of them have been of minorities themselves. And when you look into studies, when you do your own research, when you look into hate crimes, Asians are kind of like the unicorn in a sense of they're the only minority that I can't talk right now. They're usually, like, the hate crimes that happen to them are other minorities. Like, white people are least likely. And that carries into 2020 also. But you go to this, like, AAPI website. It's the Asian American and Pacific Islander website.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel incredibly bad, so I want to donate, right? Go to their donation page. Guess where it brings you a link to?
Act Blue.
Act Blue. Act Blue. And then, you look at their, you got to look at who's doing the studies too, people. You got to look at who's funding. So they talk about all these different studies, right? And it's UCLA Asian Studies. So I'm like, I'm down this rabbit hole. I might as well click on that too. Guess where your money goes to when you donate to the UCLA Asian American Department?
Is it also Act Blue?
Act Blue.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane. But I hope that everybody has a great evening, and thank you for everything that you and your wife do, and I hope you guys all have a great night.
Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Yep, bye.
Wow, that was a great call. Excellent call. But you know what? The whole thing about the Asians, we already know who does that. I did kind of dig into that. Speaking to the caller, I did kind of dig into that on a live show. And I was talking about the video from the rapper YG called Meet the Flockers. You can look it up right now on the YouTubes. It's a step-by-step instructional video on how to home invade Asians from not a white supremacist, but from a black rapper, YG. The same guy said F Donald Trump. That's him, same guy, right? An instructional video. It's like a little movie. It's an instructional video and song talking about how to scope it out, saying they always got cash on them. There's been problems between Asians and blacks for a long time, especially in the West Coast, LA. That was the whole LA riots. That was over that because it was a girl that got shot. Latarsha, I think her name was, because she was stealing or something like that. She got shot by an Asian shop owner, and then they wanted to go ride on him. And then there was the whole thing with the rooftop Koreans, and that's what that was all about. It was about blacks and Asians. It was a piece of it. It was a big piece of it, blacks and Asians back then in the LA riots. Okay, so this has been an ongoing thing for a very long time all over the country, especially in the left coast. All right, it's blacks and Hispanics too, same thing, but it's been more about Hispanics stomping down blacks. That's a different story. But anyway, let's get to some more here. Let me try to get 208. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, is this ABL?
Yes, it is. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, my name is Tori. I'm from Ohio. Actually, ignore this area code.
Yeah, it's all right.
So I'm gonna be brief with this. I am part of, unfortunately, the monster that is Gen Z. I'm not calling with a whole bunch of stuff to say. I'm not drunk. Please spare me. Chat, please. So I am fairly young and black and conservative, which is, F in the chat. Not a great combination in the year 2021. But I'm just calling in to say we have not lost hope. It's not all bad. Not all of us have blue hair and chant BLM in the streets. Some of us have common sense, some of us have reason, and some of us we're trying here. We're trying. So we're not all one mob. This Baltimore kid, I mean, I just laugh when I think about it, because like I wish I came home and brought home an F and lived to see the next day.
Exactly.
That's not how it works. Where I'm from, and like I'm the daughter of immigrants. You come home with a C and you're looking at, the Last Supper. But, I just wanted to call in and say I appreciate what you do. I look forward to listening to your videos and listening to what you have to say. And yeah, just keep on rocking and rolling, and please don't trash the whole Gen Z. We're trying. We're not all bad. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. Thank you for your call. I appreciate you.
Have a good night.
Yeah, a lot of the Gen Z, they're on point. A lot of the young folks that call in, they're on point. They most certainly are. But then you got the extremes. You got the blue hair hooligans. Then you got like the based red pill Gen Zers. So it's a nice little spectrum. Nice little not spectrum, but nice little mix. 530, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, ABL. Thank you for taking my call. I'm a lot older than you. Well, a little older than you are. I was born in 1960, so grew up in the 60s and 70s, lived in California most of my life, and kind of found California in the 60s and 70s was colorblind. Went in the Marine Corps in the 70s and 80s. Again, colorblind was a thing. I mean, everybody was green in the Marine Corps, so that was all cool. But I want to get that point across. And then, I never had a problem with a black person in my life. And I would help them out just as much as I would help a white guy. I mean, I've stopped on the freeway and people kind of look at me and go, "Dude, I'm just here to help. I'm not out for nothing. I just don't want to see you on the freeway. When I break down on the freeway, I want you to help me. That's all." So that's been my kind of character my whole life. And then I wanted to mention about the gun laws in California. I ran across an odd one. I was doing some range safety work in a rural range here, and managed to get shot.
Oh wow!
And when I went to renew I got a ricochet bullet in my forearm.
Ah.
But if I hadn't had my forearm up and teaching somebody, the girl that I was teaching would have got shot in the rib.
Wow.
So I went to get my concealed carry permit renewed, and the sheriff showed up at the place where I was doing the class, and he goes, "Yeah, I don't think, Rick, I can give you your concealed carry." I go, "Why's that?" He goes, "Oh, because in the state of California, if you're a shooting victim, you can't have a concealed carry permit."
What?
And I'm like, yeah, that's what I said. He said, "Yeah, it's a law." And I said, "Oh, well," I said, "I was doing RSO work that day on the range, and so I was teaching." I said, more or less, it's an industrial accident, and and it wasn't an intentional shoot; it was a ricochet, so it was an act of God." And he goes, "Oh, I'll write it up that way, okay." And the rest is history.
Wow.
I went on to get my concealed carry permit, and everything's good. So yeah, California is a strange duck. I live in the north part of the state, and we're almost near Oregon, so it's a lot better up here. We got clean air, we can think. So I appreciate your show. I really love it. Listen to it as much as I can. So thank you for your input. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
All righty. Bye.
All right. Shout out to the Marine, hoorah, and all that good stuff. That's wild though. That was a crazy law. So if you're a victim, you can't get, or at least back then you couldn't get a concealed carry permit in California. If you're a victim, wouldn't that be the person that needs to get it the most? How does it make any sense? Like, okay, domestic violence, you got a crazy ex-husband or somebody comes through drunk, waving the pistol, shoots you, and you need to go get it to protect yourself, and you can't do that. That's crazy. And can you open carry in California? In Virginia, you can open carry with no license. Last time I checked, maybe that's changed now since Virginia's become a crazier place. 780, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, Anthony.
Hello.
Liza Jean calling from Canada.
All righty. What's going on?
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do you think that Jill and Joe are living in the White House?
Who?
Jill and Joe. Come on, Jill and Joe.
Oh, Jill and Joe.
Yes.
No, I don't know where they're living. They could be in the White House. I think maybe Joe's in the basement. I don't know where Jill is at.
I don't think they're in the White House, and I don't even think that Congress or anything is meeting where they're saying that they're meeting.
Why you say that?
Well, because there's barbed wire, everything is all cut off. Something very strange is going on.
Well, hey, I don't know what's going on. Is it barbed wire around the White House or the Capitol?
Well, it's around the Capitol, and this just seems like very strange times. You know, when Trump was there, we knew that he was, in residence there, but since Jill and Joe have taken over, it just seems like everything just seems to be happening remotely. And let me take questions, and then it just fades out. Poor Joe.
Yeah, it's terrible. But I think they know what they were getting from him. They're getting pretty much a hand puppet at this particular point.
And I think it's wonderful that the truth is rising to the surface. And you're amazing. A lot of people are, feeling hope when they get to connect with other people who know that there's something very strange going on. And we in Canada love what you're doing, and you take care.
All right, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
You got it. Bye.
All righty. So let me get some more calls here. Let's go. All righty. Y'all just hang tight. Let's do 856 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, ABL. It's Christy, New Jersey. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. About yourself?
All right. I'm doing good. I talked to you a couple weeks ago about my Betsy Ross flag. But anyway, this is something of interest regarding the IRS with his tax returns. My kid's dad filed his taxes recently through H&R Block online, and for some reason $500 was deducted out of his return, and he contacted the H&R Block, and they don't even know why. So I was wondering what your thought was about that.
I have no idea. 500 only? I don't know, because I'm thinking maybe that could have been the first stimulus or the one they got in December, but that's 600. So I'm not really sure why it would be 500. I have no idea. That's a good question.
And even H&R Block doesn't know why the IRS did it. So something shady is going on in that area.
Yeah,
it's something to look into.
Definitely.
And then my final comment, I think Trump, he'll be able to relax a little bit after Sunday night because the media is making all this big hype about Meghan Markle's interview with Oprah Winfrey. So I don't know what your thoughts are about this woman, but I just think the media needs to just focus on something else. So, it's a little bit of light for him at the end of the tunnel. And that's all I had to say.
All right. Thank you for your call. I appreciate you.
You too. God bless. Bye-bye.
Now, Meghan Markle, I don't like. I'm not going to say I hate her as I don't know her, but I don't like Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, how can I say about Meghan Markle? Meghan Markle had everything. Being over there and, in the palace, you're like a princess, basically, but you want to come back to the States and be the so-called independent woman and try to become an actress again and go on Oprah. And it's like, what are you thinking about? Like, you know what you're getting into when you become part of this family. Did you become part of this family to try and build your TV career? Like, you've ascended beyond this whole TV career thing you were trying to get. You went from being the actress, a star of an actress in LA, going to auditions, trying to make something happen at 30-something years old, a divorcee and all that good stuff, to now you're part of royalty and you want to go back and try to be part of LA again? Are you spoken? And then Harry, like, are you a man or a mouse? What's going on with you, sir? I don't like them at all. I don't like them at all. What I expect tomorrow is a Robin Givens, Mike Tyson type interview. She's going to dominate the conversation, and he'll just be sitting there like, looking dopey in the face, but I'm getting triggered. My whole point is, hey, if you have like a guy that could be the king of England, he could be the king of England one day, potentially. I know he's far down on the list, but that's a different story. The king of England, you talking to, if you got that guy, you just do whatever he says and keep quiet. How about that? But I digress. Okay, hold on. Y'all just hang tight. 773, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Bill. just going to get a hold of you tonight. First off, have you heard about the book burning in San Diego that's happening like Monday?
Like a for real book burning, like going outside and having the bonfire with books?
Yep. I heard about it from a friend on Facebook that they're literally going to be burning stacks of books of Dr. Seuss, and on eBay, you can't order the books, but you can still order Hitler's infamous book online.
That's crazy. It's like, okay, so we're going to burn Dr. Seuss. We're going to burn children's books. They're not going to burn Mein Kampf. You could buy Mein Kampf right now all over the internet, and that's fine. Like a guy that actually engaged in genocide, like for real, like people actually died. Dr. Seuss was actually a liberal guy, anti-racist guy, and had wholesome children's books, and we're burning his book. Makes sense to me.
And on eBay, they flag you if you try to order the book for hate speech. And I really think we should not be ordering anything from eBay or Amazon since they're in bed with you know who.
It's almost hard not to. Like, it's almost hard not to because they got such a dominant space in the market. It's like trying not to go to Walmart. It's hard.
Yeah, well, you know, some of these companies need to be taught a lesson about that they serve the American people, not China.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Remember that Dr. Seuss book, the Screeches, I believe it is called, with the stars on their bellies?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was arguing that point with someone online that book is a childlike metaphor for racism. So these people trying to argue that Dr. Seuss is racist really have not read any of the books at all.
Right, exactly. They just, whatever is the popular opinion to believe, they just pretty much roll with it.
And pretty much I'm upset that the black community pretty much does not care about that educational system in Baltimore, because it's not just there, it's a whole cultural thing happening in every single major Democrat city, like here in Chicago. How can you get 0.03 of a GPA and not see any red flags there?
It's a definite issue. It's a definite issue. But see, the problem is that the parents don't care. So if the parents don't care, why should anybody care? The kids don't care. And the teachers, what can they do? I mean, if they do care, they can't do anything because there's no support from anybody. So what's the point?
Well, we may need truancy officers back, like in those old cartoons.
Yeah.
Because if the parents don't care, then somebody else needs to step up, like Joe Clark from Lean on Me.
Right. Yeah, that's what they need, for real.
By the way, I will end this with this type of phrase I think everybody should actually say pertain to the mask. Quote from Dr. Seuss, "I will not wear a mask to kiss my... I will not wear it there. I will not wear it here. I will not wear it anywhere. That I can swear."
No doubt, man. Thank you for your call. I appreciate you.
You too.
Dr. Seuss. I mean, I was talking about some of my favorite books as a kid. When I'm a little boy, I'm talking like, you know, just beyond the Goo Goo Gaga stage, I'm reading Dr. Seuss books. And now as a grown man, I'm being told that they're racist. Really? I'm a whole grown man. I'll be 40 soon enough. And you're talking about these books are racist that I grew up on and loved as a kid, that my mom sent me, my grandma sent me, and everybody. What do we it's so dumb. And people, just regular normies that are kind of on the left, are starting to pick up on this, and they're saying, okay, this is dumb. Like, why are we even entertaining this? All right. So let's go. 910, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey man, just wanted to ask about, for some reason I can't find this really legit info of people say, what was it, the 30s or 40s, whenever the Republican Party flipped to the Democrat Party, you know, whenever most of the Republicans back in the day were straight Republican, and then it was just a abrupt change in that time. What is that?
It's a myth. That's what it was. It was no party switch.
Yeah, that's exactly, man. It's like, because when people say it's a party switch, it seems like it was just like, oh, it was a conspiracy theory kind of, yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, now what they want to refer to and blow out of proportion is the whole thing about Dixiecrats, conservative Democrats, or not conservative Democrats, but Democrats that were called Dixiecrats that are still Democrats, and they still kind of say the same things today. People like Joe Biden, basically, back in the day, they were called Dixiecrats. Now,
yeah,
out of all these people, the so-called Dixiecrats, only one of them changed parties, and that was Strom Thurmond, if I'm not mistaken. All of them stayed Democrat throughout their entire life. All of them. So this was not some type of thing where it was like, oh, everybody's just changing. No. You probably have more Democrats that went the other way than, Republicans that went the other way than the other way around. Like, it wasn't this thing where a bunch of Democrats became Republican and then they sent their party down this whole weird rabbit hole. Republicans have always been Republicans. It's people that have changed. People's, ideology and culture has changed, not the parties.
And then some might stay, like, camouflaging in the colors, some might stay flogging as blue, red, whatever you want to call it. And that's what I figured it was, as simple as that. So, but it's the Dixiecrats. Is that the best way to, the best, what do you want to call a piece where you can find that tells the truth on it, like if it's on WikiLeaks or Wikipedia?
Well, I'm not really sure what the best resource would be to find to disprove it quickly. But, I guess the main thing would be where you would start is looking at the Dixiecrats, because they want to talk about that and how Dixiecrats changed from Democrat to Republican. But once you look into it, it was only one person, I think, that changed, and that was Strom Thurmond. It wasn't this whole big wave of Democrats that went to the Republican Party.
Yeah, but it's like when you look at the what results are on there right now, it's just like, wow.
It's hard to find it because they're going to try to hide it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just bearing history. But I appreciate it, man. I was just trying to get a little piece of advice on that. I like the channel. I appreciate it. Thanks for that advice.
All right, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Later.
All right, let's get to the next one here. And the number to call, you already know what it is. Let's go. All right, call you online. I'm speaking to 317.
Hi, Tommy W. I'm a 7-time caller. I had a bunch of things I wanted to talk about from last episode that kind of bothered me that couldn't get on. Can you hear me okay?
I heard you well.
All right. You know that thing where they wanted to take down all the statues and everything that offends people? It starts with that and then it goes to the next thing and the next thing. And that guy made a video on YouTube saying first they came for the statues. It was like the Holocaust survivor. First it was these people, then those people. Then they came for me and there was no one left to speak out.
Mm-hmm.
People's rights have to be ahead of everyone else's feelings. And if we don't, we'll just lose all of our rights. And then everyone's feelings will be hurt. And that's what I've been hearing about these. I call them lib Nazis because they pretend to be liberal, but they're more intolerant and violent and everything else bad than the actual Nazis are. So I call them lib Nazis. That's what they want to do, destroy this country.
Right. Pretty much.
You agree?
I'm right with you, man. They talk about how the right are all racist and Nazis and all this and that, but really they act the exact way that they think that we are acting. It's just projection at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't just the thing where they're trying to divide everything by race and then pretend to care about minorities by pandering to them. They actually had a video saying what leftists think of minorities, and it was the most condescending, insulting compilation I've ever seen. and it was really terrible. And you can tell who the real racists are. Most people, they'll recognize general trends, but they don't really care. They judge people on an individual basis based on what they do and how they treat other people. And I think everyone should just treat others the way they'd like to be treated. You know?
I agree with you. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, they're setting up barricades for the Derek Chauvin trial because it's supposed to happen on March 8th. And there's like rumors that the BLM and Antifa are going to try and start like race riots or wars over this or whatever. What do you think?
I mean, that's what they've been doing over the past few years. It's amazing how they just now want to put up barriers because they think that it's going to be conservatives doing it. I guess it's okay when the left tears up a city and they destroy things. I guess it's okay when they do it. But then when they think, not even know, but when they think we're going to do something, then all of a sudden they can say, all right, let's go ahead and put this up and let's protect ourselves for the first time.
Yeah, the hypocrisy of the left. It's okay when they do it. It's ridiculous.
Right.
And I haven't seen hypocrisy like this like ever before. And they pretend that they believe in something, but you can tell what someone really believes by what they do, and they don't really do any of the things that they say they believe in. There was actually a guy who defected from the USSR named Yuri Besimov, and he gave these lectures about how to like dismantle a society, and basically everything that he said in those videos, Yuri Besimov, what he said, that's what they're doing now. And
yes, I've seen those before. They come from 1984. So I was born, like you're talking about like 36 years ago, 37 years ago almost, when he was talking about these things. And what he was saying has come true. And the methods in which he was describing are being implemented right now to the T. So, a lot of these books are trying to, they're trying to cancel some of the old books and whatnot because, the history that we've already gone through, you can learn from it, but they don't want us to learn. They want us to be ignorant of what's going on right now so they can use old tactics that work against humans on us right now. So you're right on point.
Right, and that they talked about that in the book 1984, about destroying books, destroying memoirs of history, statue, relics, things, to rewrite things, because that way the people have no connection to their past or their upbringing, and then they can just reindoctrinate them. And when the old generation dies off, then they can just have a new generation that believes everything that they were told and does whatever they want them to.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and one of the things about the transgenders, I have a few friends who are in the LGBT community. I don't care at all. Still friends with them. I have one person in my job now. I've had people in past college and a different job that are transgender. No one really cares. No one really cares if you want to play dress up or identify as a different person. But when you start dictating to me that my freedom of speech ends where you say it does, or if I own a business, I have to build you a new bathroom or change the signs, then you've gone into encroaching on someone else's rights. And what they want to do is push this into schools, which they've been doing, and then confuse children who have the most malleable minds, they're the most gullible, they're most questioning, they're in the stage of development, and they want to confuse them to the core so they never turn out right, and then they're pretty much a lost soul, and they can make them do whatever they want. It's a manipulation tactic, and they're saying, if you don't go along with this, you're transgender, or you're transphobic, which is a form of mental illness, and you're bigoted as well, which is racism.
Wow.
They're trying to guilt people. It's a tactic. That's what they do.
That's right. Right on it, man.
Yeah, that's what the lib Nazis are up to. And I have what you said before, like it's down to the blueprint, like down to a letter. They have like these different, what do you call them? It's like a manual or whatever. One of them was Sol D. Alinsky, Rules for Radicals, and they used a lot of those tactics from in there, but there are new ones where they're actually using military tactics and making bombs and stuff and blowing up like police things during protests. Cops have lost fingers and eyes and stuff like that, and they're only escalating it. And I mean, I'm not telling anyone to break the law, but if you see anyone, doing anything wrong, just always like report those people, probably to the FBI, because Antifa is a terrorist organization now.
Right on it, man. Well, I thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, thanks a lot, ABL. See you.
All right, great calls, but that'll be a wrap for me. It's 11 o'clock. I got to go on and get up out of here. Thank y'all for being here. I got super chats to read right quick, so I'm not leaving just yet. But thank you to everybody. If you couldn't get on tonight, it's not my fault. You got to blame the white man. It's not me. I take no responsibility for you not being able to get on. Like I said, blame the white man. He is responsible. He is the reason why the sun didn't shine, why the rain came down instead. You understand what I'm saying? But super chats on deck, and then I'll wrap it on up. Thank y'all for being here yet again. Shout out to all the mods for doing what they do, keeping them trolls in check, the trolls in line, and the chat nice and right. I appreciate y'all. And I'll be back again live on, what's that? Back again live on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. Eastern. So I will check y'all again then. And, of course, I got videos pretty much every day except for Sundays right here on the channel, pre-recorded, about 10 to 15 minutes talking about whatever's happening news-wise. And if you're not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. I don't know what I got to do to get you subscribed. But go ahead and subscribe right now. And when you do that, click the bell so you get notified whenever I go live and or post a new video. All righty. And then what we got on Super Chats, let me get to those. Let me see. Shout out to Ricky D. Rex, who says, growing up, getting an A- was enough to get disowned in my household with a few beatings. This kid must be planning on living off of his mom. Yeah, pretty much. Shout out to Wolfgang, who says, blame Wolfgang. He's a white man. Wolfgang also says, I say keep the nuke button as close as possible to Ivan. The military won't respond. Keeps every Democrat on edge. They want to destroy a nuke capability. Lewis from Spain says ABL was a legend in his early days. When his classmates couldn't read, he was already shaking his head in disapproval. But the crazy part, a lot of my classmates could read too. They could read too. So it was like we understood how to really, I don't know. For us, we just come from a different type of environment. I don't understand. Like, a lot of these kids are really privileged. A lot of these kids in these ghettos are privileged because they got a lot of different benefits, programs, stuff like that we didn't have as kids. We had to be able to figure out how to read and do stuff to be able to maneuver. Unless you're just going to be a dope fiend or something like that. I grew up in a crack era. You would see dope fiends. Like, I got a lot of stories about that. But, we knew that we had to do something. I knew guys were trying to maneuver and try to go to better schools, and we were actually trying to make moves to be something and be somebody. Some of these kids nowadays don't even really care. When I was a kid, when I was like 12, 13, I was trying to get a job. I'm trying to get a work permit. Like, that was talking to school. Where can I get a work permit? Can I get it from my guidance counselor? That's what we were on back then. Trying to get some money as early as possible, legally. And then you had some kids that just wouldn't go outside and just do whatever. But then when you have the minimum wage being raised up to $1 trillion an hour, it's not even no hope. So some of these kids in the hood, if they have no hope for getting any kind of job anywhere where they're at when they're 12, 13, 14 years old, just go to the block and do what you know how to do. And then what ends up happening, they end up trying to try some of this stuff, and you see them 10 years later, they're a whole dope fiend. That's what happens. But you can prevent all that from doing basic common sense things. Higher minimum wage is why I'm against it, because it cuts off the ladder of economic growth and prosperity. The first rung of the ladder, which make it way high like that, the kids that are just coming into the workforce can't get on it. So what are they going to do in the meantime, in between time? Do something illegal? That's what happens. Shout out to Frank, who says, ABL, you were mentioned today on Sonny's Corner. You're becoming a sensation. Oh, shout out to her. Hopefully, it's something nice. So shout out to Sonny. Thank you to Wolfgang, who says, hey, if anyone wants to send me money, I can make sure I think of you when I super chat the ABL, and I could use it on my debt too. Shout out to Shad Boy, who says, good job, thumbs up emoji. Thank you to Atomic, who says, politicians should have to wear their sponsors' patches on their jackets like NASCAR drivers. Exactly, yes. I co-sign that one 100%. You got my stamp on that one. Shout out to Wolfgang, who says, maybe if I trans, mommy daddy would love me again. Wow. If he becomes trans, I guess that's talking about D Wade, son, daughter, Sauter, whatever they want to call themselves. 00Zim. Shout out to Dewberry30, who says, what's your thoughts on Gen Z canceling Eminem regarding a line from his past song in 2010? Greetings from Philippines. They're canceling Eminem now. Eminem just went through this whole 4 years of hating Trump, like incessant, like to the point where it got to be ridiculous, right? he's been going through this whole thing for so long. So it's like, now you want to cancel him, but that's what happens. It's a cancel culture striking back. So I'm not surprised. That's his fault, really. Ain't nobody else's fault but his. So you got to take that L and just be able to deal with it the best you can. All right. All right. Shout out to Shad Boy for the donation. Shout out to Stephanie Crow who says the $10 turtle. Thank you. Thank you for Raider76 who says for God and country. Flex emoji. Stand your ground and don't give them an inch. Exactly. Wolfgang says, as far as I know, we are all Americans. Okay, so what? I have a background that modifies who I am, and as a part of my family, we all have this. Wolfgang also says, if I had to do African studies to graduate, my final project would be Wakanda Forever. Y'all give me stupid requirements, you get stupid results. And he also says, watch Tombstone to see how gun control works. Leo says, COVID relief equals 91% pork. Exactly. So the bill, 91% pork. You're talking about Smithfield Foods type pork. I don't want no sausage, no ham, or nothing like that. No lunch meat. I'm good. Charles Hunter Jr. says, worst states for gun laws: Hawaii, California, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, and what's it, Massachusetts or Maine? One of them. No open carry allowed in California. Utah just passed constitutional carry. Indiana and South Carolina are about to pass it. Well, shout out to them. You definitely need to have that. Laura says, people who are fake offended by Mr. Potato Head and Dr. Seuss need to get a life. They must have nothing going on better to do than to cry about trivial nonsense. Yeah, you know it. You know it for 100% sure. It's always something to cry about. You got to make up something to be offended about to actually be offended. And speaking about trivial nonsense being made up to get offended about, let's take a look at this person and all their gender pronouns, shall we? This could be right here on the YouTubes or on Instagram, pardon me.
EM, airs, or Z's, zers, or really any neo-pronouns that aren't Z, her. I'm Cody. Pronouns EM, airs, or Z's, zers, or really any neo-pronouns that aren't Z, her. I'm Cody. Pronouns EM, airs, or Z's, zers, or really any neo-pronouns that aren't Z, her.
Making up stuff. Are you seeing this on the screen? EM, airs. That's their pronouns. Or Z's, zers. But you can't call her Z, her, hers. HIRHRRS. You can't say ZEHIRHRRS, but you can say E, the letter E, EM, EIR, or ZE, ZEM, ZYR, ZYRS. Dumb. One more time for the road.
I'm Cody. Pronouns EM, airs, or Z's, zers, or really any neo-pronouns that aren't Z, her. I'm
making up stuff. Just making up stuff. This is dumb. This is dumb. You're dumb. Stop. Just, do something else with yourself. A malfunctioning robot, exactly, and they're dead serious too. If I'm willing to bet everything that they're dead serious. All right, Laura says many are still affected by the virus. Will stores and companies cave to public pressure to keep mask mandates even after government mask mandates lifted for fear of being canceled? Yes, some are still going to have mask mandates, of course. Private businesses, yeah. Shout out to Hudson Jackson II, who says, part of me really wants Trump to run for a House seat next year. Hey, he might do it. He might do something crazy like that, and he'll win whatever he does. you guys are funny in the comments. Hilarious. Shout out to Wolfgang, who says, if you do not like the signs on in my bathrooms, you can go to your business outside. Otherwise, I will trespass you if you go into the wrong bathroom. Sonia says, interest title for Michelle Obama's book, Becoming. Anyway, YouTube, book, interesting title. Exactly. Anyway, YouTube pulled Trump's CPAC speech, so is our stream gone too? Yes, it is, unfortunately. I appealed it, but it's probably going to be gone because of political reasons. Thank you to Ty Nicholas, who says, social justice is never good when being taught by Leninist Marxists and enforced by nice people in Washington. JM said, check out Alien Alphabet live later tonight on YouTube's. He was on the scene at the Tiger Woods crash. Lots of good content there. Ivan number 1. Rickety Rex says, the media needs to stop lying about Asian hate crimes. Most of us Asian people want to work and live in peace. We get attacked the same as other people. Exactly. Shout out to Colt Haterade, who says, I can't be associated with leftists. They're insane. I had to write off a lot of people I've known for the last 20 years for that reason. Have you? I don't write anybody off, but they've written me off. But it's fine because I gain more than what I lose, so I'm not even really worried about it. It's fine. Wolfgang says, Cody failed English and wants us all to know. And shout out to Rickety Rex. That's funny. Rickety Rich says, also, because you played that video where liberals are having meltdowns, telling people to wear masks. Oh, you want to see that one? Let me see if I can pull it up right quick, because that was a funny one. That's a classic video right there. That's a classic. If I can find it right quick, I'll put it up. I thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. I couldn't do it without y'all. Y'all already know what time it is. All right. I think I might have just scrolled past it. Hold on. Let me see if I can get to where it was at. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Is this incorrectly worded? It wasn't like that the whole fucking... Can you guys just wear a mask? Can you please just wear a mask? I'm really over this. I'm really over it. Can you please wear a mask? Thanks. Incorrectly wearing the mask inside of the big building. Is this incorrectly worded, guys? Is this incorrectly worded? It wasn't like that the whole fucking... Can you guys just wear a mask? Can you please just wear a mask? I'm really over this. I'm really over it. Can you please wear a mask? Thanks.
Matter of fact, I got one more. This is from today. I found this today. This is a product I'm trying to sell. It's an innovative new air filter, and you're gonna see it right now. Let's check it out. You want that, huh? Hey, my question was like, do they come in red? Do they come in red or no? That's what I want. Let me get that right there. There's a HEPA filter in it. So if you can't see what's going on right here, there's a filter for your nose, and it fits right on top of your nose like a clown nose, but it's like mechanized. Think, okay, like hear me out. Think clown nose meets Tesla truck. Put it together, boom, you have a thing called nosy. Put it on your nose and you get a filter. So if you get allergies or whatever the case may be, you could put a mechanized clown nose available in gray, white, black on your face. It's also available in some kind of pink color. You good money, all right? That's what you need right there. The rose gold color, I'm going to get that immediately, all right? So, yeah, that's what I'm going to get. Okay, I'm done. All right, I got to go. Thank you for being here. I'll be back live again on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, so right around right now, 11 p.m. Eastern. And that'll be a wrap. Had a lot of fun tonight, and I will see you guys next time. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. In peace.